But I think I just would like to focus on the discussions about the Society 5.0 because I think Asian countries, like including also Indonesia, I think we will much more correlated with this kind of mindset. But we are talking about the Society 5.0, we are not only talking about the technological developments, but also how far we can also include the cultures to the any kind of technological developments. That's very important. So in technological development, we have any kind of digital transformations, or maybe in energy, we have also green transformations and also some other transformations. But digital transformations or DX, it is not only, it is not the main target of us. But our target or our objective of this one is that we would like to optimize our capacity, our creativity, and finally, the main goals of this one is not only tackling down the problems or solving the problems, but also create the values to the society. And when we are talking about the energy transitions, I think there will be any kind of some factors which need to we need to tackle down this kind of problems, including the environment, economy, and also social. Because when we are talking about the environment, means that we are moving from any kind of fossil-based system to any kind of renewable system, or any kind of much more cleaner system. So it means that there will be any kind of change in the natures, including the carbon emissions, balance managements in the natures, and also any kind of biodiversity. And also for the economy, also I think there will be also a great challenge for us because we are also being challenged by any kind of how far we can create any kind of new opportunity, including the job creations to the society, and also how far we can tackle down some vested interests. Vested interest means that over years that some people are having any kind of established business previously based on fossil fuels or etc. When we are moving to any kind of new energy system, means that we are also need to tackle down this kind of problems. And also for the social one, that's also another challenge also because the society also will need change, and also the social acceptance of the renewable energy, and also some technologies correlated with that. That's also very important. So we are moving from any kind of conventional to modern systems of the energy over years. As we could see over years that in the conventional systems, basically we are relying strongly on the conventional fuels, including as coals, natural gases, oil, or etc. But in the futures, when we are talking about the renewable energy, we are talking about the cleaner energy systems. In this case, finally, we reduce the ratio of the conventional fuels, fossil fuels especially, but we need to improve or add the share of the renewable energy. But main problems of the renewable energy is that it is fluctuation because it is really fluctuating. So it means that we are facing two different fluctuations in the supply side and also the demand side. And the problem is that if we are talking about the quality of the energy, means that we need to balance in real-time manner between the supply and also the demand side. So we need to build any kind of system that can balance simultaneously between the supply and demand, and also have any kind of good energy buffer, in this case, like energy storage or etc. But it should be responsive. This is the general roadmap for decarbonizations in Indonesia things. So now for decarbonizations, we can have any kind of adoption for the renewable energy, deforestation, and also the adoptions of carbon tax and carbon trading and other some policies. But also, as we could see here, that the carbon tax, although in Indonesia, I think is still very low, but $2 per ton CO2. On the other hand, the cost for the carbon captures is still very high. It's about $20 to $30 per ton CO2. So it means that the gap between the carbon tax and also the carbon capture cost is still very high. What we are expecting is that in the futures, we can increase the carbon tax, and also we can reduce the cost for the carbon captures. So I think there will be any kind of competitions, and we expect that by 2035 or 2040, there will be any kind of fair competition between the carbon tax and also the carbon captures. So at that times, I think finally the cost for the renewable energy, and also the cost for the conventional energy, fossil fuels or etc., finally will be also quite competitive because we are considering also this kind of carbon tax. So at that times, I think we believe that we have also some options. So people can whether they would like to pay for the carbon tax, or they would like to capture their CO2 itself. So there's also possible Indonesian energy roadmap toward 2060. What we are expecting is that we also need to increase the share of the renewable energy, the share of the hydrogens as the carbon-free fuels, and also because we are also dealing with any kind of transportation systems. I think it is very good in case that we can facilitate the adoption of the electric vehicles. But the problem is that when there's any kind of massive electric vehicles adoption in our country, finally, we are being challenged whether we can really can cover the demands of the electricity during the charging itself. Otherwise, in case that we cannot coordinate, or we cannot have any kind of capacity to cover the demand for the chargings, we will have any kind of problem with other electricity. So we must have any kind of capacity to control the charging and also discharging behaviors of electric vehicle, which are distributed across the country. So we need to adopt any kind of vehicle to create technology, or usually people call it as the V2G technology, to coordinate and also to facilitate all the distributed electric vehicles as the energy storage, as the energy buffer, so they can also participate in the energy business. And for today, I just want to talk mainly about the biomass things, the role of the biomass to our future energy system. This is very important. As we could see first, that biomass basically is very important, is very crucial for us. And the potential in Indonesia, I think, is very high. And it is comfortable to electricity and also to hydrogen itself. And the big things, or the good characteristics of the biomass, is that it's quite flexible. It is quite flexible, it is storable, and also it is transportable. That's really different with other one. So like when we are talking about the electricity, we are talking about the hydrogens, we are facing the problem with the storage, but we are talking about the biomass basically, especially for the solid biomass, it can be transported, it can be stored well without being converted to any kind of another phase or etc. And I think finally there will be any kind of correlated or connected energy systems. Not only we are not only relying on the electricity, although the electricity is very effective or efficient energy, but also we need to also connect or integrate with other types of the energy, including the gases, liquid, and also maybe also with the solid fuels, including the biomass or etc. So we are talking about the hydrogens. Hydrogen is very, very potential, but the problem is that its volumetric energy density is very low. So compared to other fuels like gasoline, kerosene, or etc., and the volumetric energy density is very low. That's only 3 watt-hour per liters. That's very, very low. So it means that we need any kind of certain technology to effectively store and other transport the hydrogens. But hydrogens or its derivatives, including the ammonia, it can be utilized in several sectors in our energy systems, including not only for the transportation. Transportation is only one of the possible utilization of hydrogens. But as we could see that the demand for the transportation is really not so high compared to other one. So the main demand for the hydrogen is basically for the power generations. So like in case of Japan, actually what we would like to have is that we like to replace the import of the coal and also natural gas from others from abroad, and replace it to hydrogens, and then we utilize hydrogen for power generations inside Japan. And the second biggest or largest consumers of the hydrogen is the industrial applications. It is like steel or iron makings and also cement industries. I think we believe that it is not only a fuel, but hydrogen also can behave as the reducing gas, which is very important when we are processing the steel or iron. And the third one, then, it is for the transportation. And for the transportation, it is not only for the small-scale passenger cars like Mirai or etc., but also the biggest thing or the largest demand for the hydrogen will be the aviations, the ship, or etc. The large and also big transportation system, including truck and etc. But originally, the current cost for the hydrogens, when hydrogen is produced from any kind of renewable energy, is still very high compared to the conventional one, conventional hydrogen. Conventional hydrogen basically converted from natural gas. And the price for the conventional hydrogen is still about was 0.5 US dollar per kilograms. But when we are comparing with any kind of like biomass-based hydrogens, the cost is still about 2.5 or 3 US dollar per kilogram hydrogen. So this is still very high. But the problem, we believe that the cost for the biomass-based or any kind of renewable energy-based hydrogen, I think, will be reduced in the futures. And also, when we are considering any kind of carbon tax, finally, the natural gas-based hydrogens also, its cost also will increase in the future. And this is a possible roadmap for hydrogen in Indonesian case. I divide it into three different periods. The first is for the pilot and also for any kind of export possibilities, but export to several countries, especially in the ASEAN Pacific countries, including Japan, Korea, Singapore, and also possibility into China. And the second one is the second period is this is a very challenging period. This is the infrastructures developments or market developments over here. So I think it takes about another 1 decade, something like that. But it is very important in case that I like to have any kind of hydrogen economy in futures. I think we need also to how far we can build any kind of infrastructures to support the adoptions of the hydrogen or massive hydrogens in our society. Otherwise, in case that we cannot build any kind of infrastructures well in our country, finally, as we could see over years that this is the valley of death. And in case that we cannot surpass this kind of valley of death, finally, we cannot have any kind of good hydrogen economy in the future. And this is the possible hydrogen application roadmap for Indonesian case. As I mentioned previously, that the largest demand for the hydrogens will be, I think, not only for the transportations, but also for the power generations, transportation itself, also for the industries. Because in Indonesia also we have big or large iron and also steel making industries and also cement industries. And we are talking about the potential sources for hydrogens and ammonia production in Indonesia. And we are talking about the biomass itself. The potential is very high. So as we could see over years that, okay, some highest potential will be about the like solar or wind or hydropower or etc. But as we could see over here, the biomass also we have very huge potential for years. So that's also our potentials to be utilized or to be converted to hydrogens, and then hydrogens also can be utilized for us in domestically, or maybe it can be transported or exported to other countries. And there's some possible scenarios for hydrogen production, storage, transportation, also utilization in Indonesia. I put two different circle over years. Double circle over years means that it is very potential. Like this one for this very potential using low rainfall, using industrial waste and also biomass and also hydropowers is very important. This is very potential in Indonesia. And so for the stored transportations, I think the compressed hydrogen, liquid hydrogen is very potential. And then also we have a major technology to convert or to synthesize hydrogen into ammonia. And finally, for the utilizations, we can introduce first the hydrogen for any kind of co-firing or co-combustions for power generations. So it means that the ammonia is co-fired or co-combusted together with the existing coal-fired power plants. So it means that the consumption of the coal for the power generation can be reduced, and so we can reduce the total CO2 emission from the power plant. Another option is replacing the currently running diesel engine for power generation utilizing the hydrogens, and also finally also for the distributed one, maybe we can have also for another fuel cells or etc. And this is some possible trade. And we are comparing with our neighboring countries, including Australia, Brunei, or etc. I think Indonesia is quite potential for years, because when we are mapping the demand for the hydrogens for export, especially like Japan's, Korea, and also China, finally the distance between Indonesia and Japan's and Japan, Indonesia, and also Korea, Indonesia, and also China, I think it will be much shorter compared to in case that we compare between the Australia and also Japan. The big thing over here is that in case that we store the hydrogens to its liquid form, or usually we call it the liquid hydrogens, finally the distance is very important, because we are considering also the boil off, means that the evaporations, some of the liquid hydrogen evaporates during the transportation or during the storage. So means that the shorter times for shippings will be much more advantageous compared to the longer distance. This is the possible routes, but I think it is fine. And also, we're talking about biomass. I think, as I mentioned previously, that biomass is very important, and how far we can have any kind of massive adoption of the biomass. So means that we can achieve the economic performance of the hydrogens, as we could see, like in the Brazil, when we are discussing with the Brazil professors over there, they are mentioning that they are successful in bioethanol because what? Because the system, the policy, and also the systems are massive. So means that the economic performance can be improved well, and finally they achieve very competitive economics using any kind of bioethanol over there. So we are tropical countries. Indonesia is tropical country, so means that biomass also very potential. The problem is that how far we can have any kind of massive adoptions of biomass in our country. And this is some forestation in Indonesia, but I think I'm running out of time, so I just would like to skip it. So forestation in Indonesia is very important. So when we are figuring out the forestation, so means that we can cover actually we can measures, we can also to offset the currently exhausted emitted CO2 from our power plants by using this kind of forestations. And the potential is much more higher than 200 megatons of CO2 annually. So that's very, very huge potential for forestation for carbon captures. And this is also potential for utilizing biomass and waste to hydrogens, but I don't want to talk in detail about this one because it is very technical. Some technologies, including the thermochemicals and also electrochemicals, and that's very, very important, and also some biological. But the problem with the biological conversion is that it's quite slow. So we need to map the technological conversions, including the thermochemical, electrochemical, and so finally the biologicals. They have their own characteristics. So the important thing is that how far we can optimize their characteristics to get the hydrogen itself. We have also developed some kind of technology that we call the chemical looping technology. So we can produce the hydrogens while we are also separating CO2 simultaneously. Okay, then yeah, this is some technologies correlated with the chemical looping technology. We have also some studies of our laboratory, and so we are also developing the system utilizing any kind of artificial intelligence, including also the deep Q learning, reinforced learning. So the system itself finally can optimize by itself. And yeah, this is my last slide for today. So what's really neat and required for an Indonesian case in this one? So we have a commitment to achieve carbon neutrality by 2060. The important is that how far we can break down this kind of commitment by 2060 to any kind of measurable and also feasible timeline or milestones for 5 years, 10 years, or etc. And then also we need also to create the market inside, create the demand, create the market inside our country, and then also improve the technological mastery, capacity for the innovation, and also this is very important, bypassing the technology. We are not only following the success story from other countries, but also bypassing the technology or bypassing any kind of scenarios. That's very important. We need to build our own scenario, and then we need to also select the technology, or sometimes maybe bypassing the technology. That's very important. And so some other issues are correlated with the environmental issues, in social acceptance correlated with the hydrogen, also like the biomass or some correlated technologies. Okay, thank you very much for your attentions. And sorry for the limited time. So in case that you have some point to be discussed in the future, so I think this is very, 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 I would like to really welcome for that. Thank you very much, Pak Nafi. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Gentlemen, all of the honorable participants, let me give a brief introduce the speakers. Dr. Ernie Sofia Muratini is associate professor, a lecturer, study program of food technology, Department of Food Science and Biotechnology, Faculty of Agricultural Technology, Brawijaya University, so from Malang, Indonesia. She graduated from University of Brawijaya for her bachelor, and then graduated from University Brawijaya as well for her master, and got a PhD from Oklahoma State University, USA. Her expertise on cereal science and technology, but also interested in development of traditional food, local Indonesian commodities. Dr. Ernie is quite a great scientist that we can see on the screen that Dr. Ernie already published more than 27 scientific international journals, 10 proceedings, 5 books, and 3 patents. A professional expertise is visiting scholar at UK Lexington, visiting scholar at USU Stillwater, USA, teaching an international class program, and guest lecturer at Major University, Thailand on 2017. Also, this is the IC-FANRes, and Dr. Sofia Murtini got award of the best oral or poster presenter in international conference, IFT Oklahoma Research Symposium 2013, and also at IC-FANRes on 2015 and 2019. I think 2019 maybe the conference just before the pandemic, right? Okay. Now, without further ado, I will give the time to Dr. Ernie Sofia Murtini. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Dr. Ernie Sofia Murtini.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. So the one supposed to deliver speech today is Dr. Patricia Rayas Duarte, but sad news, she cannot deliver her material directly because right now her husband in very sick in hospital, so she asked me to deliver her material. So I hope it's not make you it's okay for you. Okay, so my name is Ernie Sofia Murtini. I'm from Food Science and Biotechnology, Universitas Brawijaya, Malang. So we will talk about prepare to ferment. The future is here. As introduction, the current food system is having a problem because it is pushed to crisis. Because what? Because the population is growing. So right now there are 8 billion people in the world, and it's going up. It's predicted near 9.7 billion people in 2050. It means that they need a lot of food. But most of food system we have right now, such as agriculture, animal husbandry, and also aquaculture, is grappling with degradation of land, environment, climate changing, also climate disaster. And then the reason why people thinking to move from animal-based food become like plant-based food. But this idea, even though like less harmful to environment, but still rely on climate, intensive land, water, and also chemical use. So what next? Next. Okay, so one of the solution is we use microbe in food. So actually, microbe already used in food since long time ago. We can check here in fermentation since 10,000 before century. People like first documented yogurt already there, and also brewing, leavening bread. Also people creating antibiotic thing, and until now there are many innovation they do in fermentation thing. Next please. Okay, why we use microbial? So microbial is new food solution because it is low carbon thing. And then the second one is low reliance on land, water, and also seasonal variation. And the third one, because it is also have like favorable potential nutritional profile. So this is the timeline of role of microbe in food as depicted by Graham et al. The first, like traditional fermentation, people already make a lot of like products such as like producing alcohol, and then food preservation, and also increasing the taste and texture of the food. And then people enhance the fermentation. They start to select the microbe, they increase the efficiency and etc. And then for fermentation, also producing biomass, they use for like animal feed, also for human food. And then they also produce ingredient for food and also medicine thing, and also like no. Since people like move from like animal-based food to plant-based food, they also using biomass to produce like meat analog or meat alternative thing. And then people also like using fermentation to produce like single cell protein thing. Next, please. Okay, there are two forms of fermentation. So the first one is like traditional fermentation thing. The thing we use microbe to increase food properties. For example, to increasing like flavor, texture, and etc. For example, if we make like very popular, nutritious, and superfood from Indonesia, tempe, we add soybean with like result boosting. And also, for example, when we create like yogurting, we use milk and also lactic acid bacteria thing. And then second is biomass fermentation. In this case, people use that biomass to get like starch of protein. For example, to create like vegan meat, something like that. And then the next one, the more advanced fermentation, we call it like precision fermentation. Everything is designed very well, more efficient, using certain kind of like starter condition and something like that. It is the cell factory to produce specific protein, molecule, enzyme, flavoring agent, vitamin, natural pigment, and also fat. One of example, if vegan meat, actually the one challenge is how to produce the vegan meat with taste like meat. The one that why meat tastes like meat is heme, protein. So actually heme naturally from animal thing, but right now using fermentation, people can produce the heme from the plant sources. Next, please. There are some, I think it is common knowledge thing, there are some function and health benefit of fermentation food. The first is microbe enhancing the quality, especially it is probiotic thing. And then increasing bioavailability of nutrient in food, because during fermentation there are like many hydrolysis using enzyme to cut off many kind of bonds, so the nutrition can become more available. And then reducing glycemic index, and also improving toxic compound and inhibiting pathogen. It also biochemical pathway producing health promoting compound. For example, in that picture, so fermentation using lactic acid bacteria in case of anti-nutritional factor, by fermentation it is decreased with phytic acid, condensed tannin, saponin, raffinose family oligosaccharide. In case of nutrition and functional properties thing, so by fermentation is acidification gonna be increasing like resistant starch, and also it's gonna be decreasing the glycemic index. Proteolysis happen during fermentation also will increase bioactive peptide, free amino acid, it is reduce allergen, and also lectin and etc. And then in case of safety thing, fermentation can produce bactericin, antifungal peptide, organic acid, and it is benefit for decreasing spoilage pathogenic microorganism. Next, please. Another report says that fermentation also, fermented food also has like anti-obesogenic effect. It is depend on the what kind of bioactive product they produce during fermentation. It is like organic acid, phenolic compound, polysaccharide, and also protease. There are the picture how the fermented plant-based food have anti-obesogenic effect by control appetite, by increasing leptin sensitivity, and also regulate lipid metabolism, promote adipocyte conversion, relieve inflammation, improve glucose metabolism, and also modulate gut microbiome. Next, please. This is some example of fermented food that have the anti-obesogenic. Next, please. Microbe itself, it is high nutrition. So, based on the Graham also, it says that microbial biomass is high protein, high fiber, and bioactive compounds. So, it is make it suitable as food sources. Protein, for example, protein from algae is about like 40 until 60%. From fungi is 30 until 70%, and also from bacteria is 53 until 80%. Algae also has higher high fiber content, usually like insoluble fiber, cellulose, and other polysaccharide found in cell wall. And while filamentous fungi and also yeast, it is high in beta-glucan and also mannan oligosaccharide. Next, please. People also use microbe as human sources. So it's called like SGP, single cell protein. So people use like biomass processes and extracted that protein and then use it as supplement, ingredient, or main source food. For example, in 1902, people already like producing marmite. It is like yeast byproduct from beer manufacture, and then they creating marmite, extracting marmite, and then sort of vitamin as well. And then in 1980, there are like meat alternative thing, meat but not from animal thing. It's called corn. So it is produced from SCP Fusarium venenatum. And then there are also another lot of like chlorella and spirulina that rich in source of protein as well, phytonutrient and also vitamin. Next, please. Okay, and then precision fermentation. The precision fermentation is more advanced. with higher safety, efficiency, producing a lot of flavor, nutrition, and general quality compared to like traditional fermentation thing. In this case, in precision fermentation, people optimize and design specialized microbe hosts as self-factory to produce high-value functional food ingredients such as enzyme, lipid, carbohydrate, vitamin, flavoring, colorant, antioxidant, preservative with high yield and purity. For example, in that table, it lists several high-value product. For example, vanillin. Vanillin usually like people extract it from vanilla plant. It is very expensive, but not all the country fortunate to can grow the vanilla as such a vanillin. So right now people can create vanillin without vanilla tree. So next, please. There are some process, the process and precision fermentation thing. So the first one, we need to select of target molecule. What the target molecule we want? It is protein, lipid, pigment, aroma, or vitamin. And then after we decide the target, we need to design the microbe. So usually, if there are not natural microbe thing, cannot include in this like precision fermentation. Usually people design the microbe, editing something to create something very efficient. And then the next one, we need to decide raw material we will use. Raw material can be agricultural and food waste because it is low cost and available. For example, if we want to produce carotenoid, we can use vegetable or fruit waste. For example, if we want to produce bioactive peptide, we can use away from cheese and tofu waste. And also if we want to produce enzyme, we can use waste from tea, bran of rice or wheat or corn salt, and etc. And then second stage, we do precision fermentation thing. In this case, people usually use artificial intelligence, bioinformatics system, computational biology, everything in order to control pH, temperature, oxygen, salt level, and also monitor and optimize the process. After we cut the yield, we need to third stage, we call it like downstream phase. So in downstream stage, there are a lot of process, several processes to purify the yield. So we obtain the pure product. Next, please. There are some products already produced using precision fermentation. In 1990, people already 1990 people already produced rennet, not longer from like tummy of cow, but they can produce from fermentation thing. And also beta-lactoglucosamine, alpha-lactolpumine, lactoferrin, and lysozyme produced by puffy ovalbumin, like white egg, is produced by Trichoderma raceyi. And then next, people also produce oil, either in solid and liquid form. For example, DHA and EPA from seaweed, by yeast and microalgae and etc. And also people already like produce secondary metabolite, for example, flavonoid by Escherichia coli and Saccharomyces cerevisiae, vitamin B12 from co-fermentation between Propionibacterium and L. brevis. People also can produce like human milk oligosaccharide, lacto and neotetraose produced by E. coli for adding in baby formula. And then the picture says that precision fermentation already competitive in medicine, material, and no in food. Next, please. The last slide. Oh, okay, the last one. Okay, actually the most used vegetable oil in the world, one of them is like palm oil. But again, not all the country fortunate to can grow and produce the palm oil. And then the second one, some of people like realize the not environment thing, something like that. So people looking for the alternative to produce palm oil using like fermentation thing. So there are lipomyces tarkei yeast can convert sugar into oil extract at high. It says at high rates. It's like more than 90% of yeast volume. The extract is called like lipomyces oil extract. And then it says the characteristic is 90% identical with palm oil. However, the potential use of this oil is for personal care and then drug product and etc. But it's still facing the challenge to commercialize, achieving scale, price parity, and also regulation approval. I think that's all that I can say. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and thank you to Dr. Ernie for your very interesting presentations to all of us this morning. And yes, to all of you, all of the participants, and again, please, if you have any questions, keep and write on your note and wait. Now we continue with the third keynote speaker. But I asked Dr. Ani to be just remain seated here, accompany me, and then after we will have a session with Professor Muthupandian Ashok Kumar. Hello, Professor. A very good morning, or even in
Good morning, thank you.
It's still morning or afternoon in Melbourne?
It is afternoon.
Yeah. Afternoon, yes. Good. Okay. We are very apologize for the late from the schedule. And okay, now let me introduce you first. To all of the audience here, we will have Professor Muthupandian Ashok Kumar. Professor Muthupandian Ashok Kumar is the Assistant Deputy Vice Chancellor International at the University of Melbourne, Professor of Physical Chemistry and Head of School of Chemistry, leader at the implementation of BSc Dual Degree program in India, the President of the Asia-Oceania Chemical Society, committees on several University of Melbourne Management and Scientific Advisory Board of external scientific organizations. Professor Muthupandian Ashok Kumar had Bachelor on Science on Madura Kamarat University and the Master as well, Doctoral Philosophy on University of Madras. Recent project, the development of hemp oil seed sunscreen products, 2019-2021. Melbourne India Postgraduate Academy joint PhD scholarship 2018 until 2023. His primary interest is the fundamental applied aspect of acoustic cavitations. Professional experience, acting director and CEO of the Australia India Institute and the deputy head of School of Chemistry, Faculty of Science, the Associate Dean International in the Faculty of Science from 2013 to 2017, established Melbourne India Postgraduate Program, Melbourne India Postgraduate Academy, and a Bachelor Blended Program. Yes, we are very lucky to have chance listening and learning from Professor, because Professor Muthupandian Ashok Kumar already published more than 548 scientific journals. So give big applause to Professor Muthupandian. And without further ado, I think we can manage our time to give about 20 to 30 minutes for Professor Muthupandian Ashok-Kumar. Time is yours. Please welcome Professor Muthupandian Ashok-Kumar.
Thank you, Professor, for the kind introduction. I'm not sure whether you can see the screen that I'm sharing, and if you can hear me. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers, in particular, Dr. Nikan, who kind of invited me, but also the conference organizers. But also, I would like to apologize that I had to cancel my travel to the conference venue due to some urgent things here. We had the Australia-India Leadership Dialogue on Thursday and Friday, and I was kind of asked by my chancellor to be at that meeting, so that's why I had to cancel at the last minute. So my sincere apology. Today, I will be sharing some of the research that we do in ultrasonic food processing, and kind of demonstrate that it is a green technology that can be implemented in industrial scale. As I was introduced, my full name is quite long, Muthupandian Ashok-Kumar. People call me simply Ashok. I'm the Assistant Deputy Vice Chancellor International, so I would like to briefly talk about the University of Melbourne. The University of Melbourne was established in 1853 during the colonial period, and you can see some of the buildings still kind of reflect what we have in the UK. The University of Melbourne is ranked #1 in Australia for many years now. And internationally, we are ranked 14 based on QS ranking, 32 and 34 based on ARVO and the Time Higher Education ranking. So we have closely about 70,000 students, about 40% of them are international students. And we have significant research investment by the university, which is kind of compensated by the teaching income. What you see here in these photographs is this is the main entrance that you see people walking in. And also you can see the aerial view of the university campus, which is kind of north side of the city center. You can see the big buildings at the city center. We have about 7 campuses, but the main campus is Parkville campus, which is what you see in this photograph. The other campuses are around Victoria, mainly purpose-built. For example, the very big one is for veterinary science. Creswick is more into horticulture and so on. With this brief introduction to the University of Melbourne, I would like to now focus on my research presentation. As you know from the title, I use mainly ultrasound for making chemical reactions or processing applications. And ultrasound basically refers to the sound waves that are beyond 20 kilohertz or 20,000 hertz. And we call that ultrasound because our human ear cannot respond to this frequency. We can hear from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, but beyond that level, we cannot. Below 20 hertz, some animals use them for communication purposes. Some animals also use ultrasound for communication purposes. The photograph that you can see, most of us know ultrasound through ultrasonic imaging that you see here. But what happens is when you use ultrasound waves in a liquid, like in water, for example, most of these liquids will have small gas bubbles dissolved in that liquid. So those gas bubbles will respond to the pressure fluctuation that are generated by the ultrasound itself. So when you have the compression cycle, the bubbles that are dissolved in the liquid become small. When you have the rarefaction cycle, then the bubbles expand because the pressure around the bubble decreases and so on. So pretty much the bubble starts to oscillate due to the pressure fluctuations in the liquid. but simultaneously they also grow in size through a process called rectified diffusion process. We don't have to go into the details. That itself will need me 20 minutes or half an hour. But the bubbles grow in response to the sound pressure fluctuation. And then when they reach what we call a critical or resonant size, they grow and adiabatically collapse. And that's what this video clip at the bottom shows. You can see the bubble is growing and then collapsing very fast, which is an adiabatic process. So based on thermodynamics, whenever you have a volume change, that volume change corresponds to work. W is equal to P delta V. In this case, all the work is converted into heat, and that heat can be used, for example, to break chemical bonds to generate radicals and do some chemical reactions. Or the bubble oscillations also generate some physical forces that can be used, for example, for processing applications. So majority of the food applications, we need the physical forces rather than the chemical forces. So this particular slide kind of gives you a summary of an overview of what physical and chemical forces are generated. As I have already explained to you, the heat can be, a high amount of heat can be generated. That kind of, for example, is responsible for a temperature change of 5,000 to 50,000 Kelvin. And because there's a volume change, pressure also is increasing within the bubble. This pressure is released back into the system by means of shock waves. It is that shock wave that can be used for mass transfer effect and also for processing. We also have bubbles collapsing asymmetrically, as you can see in this photograph, which is called microjet. That microjet also has a strong mass transfer effect. So the shock waves, microjet, etc., can generate strong shear forces, and the radicals that are generated can also do some chemical reactions. Okay, so this is kind of simple summary of everything, and I just want to kind of show you a couple of videos in order to show how strong the physical forces can be, the shear forces can be, to increase the mass transfer. Sometimes you may not see this video that I'm playing. If you don't see it, let me know. But what you basically see is a bubble oscillating in a small capillary, and you have some silica particles in water, like a dispersion. When the bubble is oscillating, you can see the strong shear forces pushing these particles. So instead of these particles, if you have molecules, for example, you can increase the mass transfer, which can increase the rate constant of a chemical reaction, for example, that can increase the rate of a chemical reaction. A similar kind of mass transfer effect can be seen here. Again, you can see the particles around the cavitation bubbles are moving because of that strong shear force. And that force can also be used to generate an emulsion. We'll talk about food emulsions later on. We have water and oil. It makes water and oil. And this is the chemistry that I was talking to you. If you have water molecules within this hot zone of the cavitation bubbles, we can generate hydrogen atom, which is a reducing agent, hydroxyl radical, which is an oxidizing agent, that can simply be used for redox chemical reactions. So what we have been doing at the University of Melbourne, when I started this research back in '96, about for 10 years, we looked into the basic aspects of this acoustic cavitation process. Acoustic cavitation is the one that I showed you, where the bubbles are growing and collapsing adiabatically to generate physical and chemical forces. And following that kind of fundamental understanding, then we started focusing on applications of ultrasound or sonochemistry in energy, environment, health, and food. So today I'll be kind of primarily focusing on food processing. For example, you can see here some emulsions, but we can also use the chemistry or chemical forces for making nanomaterials, catalytic materials, but also for other applications. As I said, we will be simply focusing today on food applications. So one of the early work that we did with dairy industry in Melbourne or in Victoria was to reduce or improve the heat stability. And the problem is kind of summarized here. So when you have some high viscous solutions, and if you try to, for example, use that high viscous solutions for spray drying processes, sometimes that high viscous solution can lead into the formation of a gel. And simply, if you heat milk at home, if you keep on heating, you will form a thin film that is formed at the top of the milk. That is due to the denaturation of the dairy proteins or whey proteins that leads to aggregation and then gel formation. So this is a big problem for dairy industry when they try to do prepare, for example, milk powder or dairy-based kind of powder systems during this spray drying process. So during spray drying process, they heat the milk to about 100 degrees or so, and then spray dry. But when you heat the milk for 100 degrees, quite often the denaturation of the protein happens that leads to the gel formation. Okay? So what we have done is we have developed an ultrasound-based process. As you can see, the results are summarized here, but this is the outcome of a research that we have done for 5 years. So simply what you do is you take certain amount of whey proteins, and in fact, the whey proteins are the one that are responsible for the heat instability or heat induced aggregation. And in milk, you have caseins. They don't basically that much cause this aggregation process. You have carbohydrates and fat. They do not affect this aggregation process. So primarily, it is the whey protein that is causing this kind of heat-induced aggregation. So if you take certain amount of whey proteins in normal milk, you have 5%. Here we are using almost double that amount. We can even use up to 50%. So when you simply heat that whey protein solution, you can see the viscosity is substantially increasing. And then after that preheating process, which is for a minute or so, if you sonicate, then the viscosity decreases. Okay, so less than 1 minute, you can bring the viscosity down to the same level as before. But that doesn't show anything. What is important here is that you see the second graph that you see on the right-hand side. So if you heat the preheated solution, you can see the viscosity keeps on increasing. But if you heat the 1 minute sonicated solution, you can see that the viscosity is not changing significantly. So what it means is you take the milk, heat it for 90 degrees or so, and then sonicate for 1 minute. And then it does not matter how long you heat it, the heating does not cause the aggregation process. So what we have done is by doing 1 minute of sonication, we can completely avoid the aggregation of these whey proteins. That means the spray drying process will continue without any issues. Whether you sonicate for 20 minutes, 1 minute, or 20 minutes, or 40 minutes, the effect is the same. So what it means is for an industrial process, the processing time needs to be very minimal, the lowest possible energy consumption. So in this case, in the optimized process nowadays, we can do this in 15 seconds. 15 seconds of sonication interruption gives the heat stability to this milk during the spray drying process. Okay, so that's the first successful story in terms of using sonication for improving the functional properties of milk. So this particular slide shows that we can use this process for large-scale treatment. This is a continuous process. So you have a tank of milk, just circulate that milk through a heat exchange, through a heating process, followed by circulating through the ultrasonic processing unit for 5 to 15 seconds, and then you do the spray drying. Then it becomes easily runnable without any aggregate formation. So it is easily adaptable for an industry because they simply need to put an ultrasonic system in between the heating and the spray drying system. And quite often, the people working in food industry, they don't want any kind of external material in contact with the processing material, in this case, milk. So there are ultrasound units that are available where the ultrasonic horns or the ultrasound transducers are fit at the outside of the cylinder, like this. And then you can do this continuous process in a non-contact mode, okay? So it is an industrially viable process. That is for the milk system. We can also change the viscosity of starch or carbohydrates. In this particular case, basically they are trying to make some starch nanoparticles by sonicating big microparticles of the starch. I think this is one of the areas also Dr. Niken is working, and also she did some work back in Melbourne when she visited us. So that's also one possibility where you can change the functional properties of not only proteins, but also carbohydrates and other things. Another application, primarily in the pharmaceutical area, but also in the food area, is the sonocrystallization. So you know how to make crystals. So you dissolve, for example, sugar in water, make a saturated solution, cool it down below 0 degrees Celsius, you form crystals. So what they have shown is that the physical shear forces that we generate during sonication can also control the properties of the crystals that you form. And in food industry, what this is relevant to is, for example, if you try to make ice creams, and if you use sonocrystallization during the ice cream formation, then the fat crystals that you generate and also sugar crystals that you generate are much smaller, less than 100 nanometers and so on. That makes the mouth feel or the texture very smooth. So the quality of ice cream or the quality of yogurt that you make is much better than conventional processes. So the picture shows that when you have a saturated solution, when you sonicate, where you have the cavitation bubbles, that's where the crystals are generated, and then they grow in, they move into the rest of the liquid. So it has been shown that this work was done by Unilever in UK. Sonocrystallization can affect the primary nucleation, but also secondary nucleation. It can change or decrease the nucleation time. It can decrease the crystal size, as I already explained to you. Size and distribution can be affected. So it can control not only the nucleation process, but also the shape and size of the crystals that can ultimately affect the quality of the products that you make. For example, here, you can look at the palm oil crystals. And if you try to use ultrasound, so if you conventionally use conventional crystallization process for palm oil, you can see that it is quite clumpy, no crystals are formed. But when you use ultrasound at the right intensity level, you can see that you get nice crystals of the palm oil fat, okay? So again, when you have these kind of nice crystals and when you use them for making some products, they have much better quality. The other area of applications in food is food emulsions. And as you know, milk is an emulsion, ice cream is an emulsion, butter, cheese, they're all some sort of emulsions. So here I'm just simply going to demonstrate that using ultrasound, if you form an emulsion, it is very stable without adding any stabilizers. That's why we call this green processing. Even in the previous case, we did not add any chemicals or anything. We simply improved the quality of the crystals formed, or we avoided the heat stability without adding any chemicals. That's why we call ultrasound is a green process, because we don't need to add any external chemicals, or we use very limited amount of energy. So here we are trying to distribute some nutritional oil like fish oil in skim milk to make the skim milk more nutritional, okay? So if you use the conventional homogenizer to make an emulsion, so here we have flaxseed oil, which is an omega-3 oil, which has an yellow color. If you do use a conventional homogenizer for an emulsion, for emulsification, or ultrasound homogenizer, you can see that the emulsion that you make using conventional emulsifier immediately destabilizes. You can see the creaming on the top, whereas when you use the ultrasound, you don't see that kind of creaming, which means the emulsion is very stable. So the question that you have to ask is why, when you use ultrasound, the emulsion is stable. As you know, we need a stabilizer for an emulsion to be stable. So when you use ultrasound, what happens is ultrasound kind of uses the whey proteins that are present in the liquid in skim milk. If you take some of these kind of naturally existing proteins or native proteins, they are globular in structure. They are not surface active. So when you make an emulsion droplet, these proteins will not go to the water water oil interface to stabilize the emulsion. So when you have the flaxseed oil droplet, you want some proteins to go there, absorb, and then stabilize the emulsion. So what the sonication does is it partially denatures the protein, but only small quantity, less than 0.1%. Once you denature the protein, then they are more surface active, so they go to the interface and stabilize. And if you leave this solution for some more time, any unused partially denatured protein will return to the globular state. So the sonication does not make permanent change to the or permanently denature the protein. Okay, it's like warming a milk. So if you warm the milk, proteins will have intact structure. The warming the milk will not denature the protein. Compared to, for example, if you just fry the egg, for example, then basically completely denature, permanently denature the protein. So ultrasound does this kind of partial denaturation of very small quantity of naturally existing whey proteins and make them as stabilizers to make the emulsion stable. So again, we don't add external stabilizer, we don't add external chemicals, and that stabilizes the emulsion droplets. The next example that I'm going to talk to you about is polyphenols, or making nanoparticles from polyphenols. And there, as you know, polyphenols are used in biomedicine, food, and many other applications, including cosmetic applications. From nutritional perspective, polyphenols are good because they are good antioxidants. That's why when you go to your doctor, they ask you to eat lots of vegetables and fruits. So vegetables and fruits, they have large quantities of the polyphenolic compounds. So quite often, if you go to some, supermarket, and if you try to buy some of these pills or capsules, they basically convert this polyphenolic compound into some powder form, and they encapsulate in capsules, and they recommend you to take those capsules. But in recent time, what they have shown is if you can make, rather than kind of make normal powder, if you can make these kind of polyphenolic compounds into nanoparticles, they have better stability in the stomach in terms of stay there for a bit longer, being absorbed into the system. So you have a better chance of taking the antioxidants or polyphenolic compounds into your system compared to a normal capsule. Okay, so if you just consume a capsule, maybe you'll only have 10% absorbed, but if you have nanoparticles, then you will have 90% absorbed by the system. So that's a large body of research that is being currently done that converts some of these kind of antioxidant polyphenolic compounds into some polymeric and polymeric nanoparticles. So what we have done is we have, in order to prove this kind of like a proof of concept study, we wanted to see if sonication can do or convert some of these polyphenolic compounds into nanoparticles. So we have done that work. As you can see, if I take this compound and dissolve that in water and sonicate for some time, then they are converted into nanoparticles. The mechanism itself is quite complex, and that's what it is shown here. But what we are trying to show here is that To polymerize a polyphenol, it is a high energy process. You need some hydroxyl radicals that are generated by cavitation process. On top of it, you also need the heat that is generated by the cavitation bubbles, a combination of the heat and the radical production. That's what it induces this polymerization of the polyphenolic compounds. And then once you reach certain oligomeric stage, then they reach the solubility limit and collapse into nanoparticles. Again, we don't have much time for me to properly go through the mechanism, but we do have a clear understanding of the mechanism by which these, how the antioxidants are converted into polyphenolic compounds. A similar kind of approach can be taken to make some what we call core shell materials. For example, I can take some proteins or carbohydrates, dissolve them in water, and I can take some nutritional compounds like fish oil, vitamin, or any nutrient, make them as an oil-water emulsion. But when you say make an emulsion, these biopolymers will go and absorb at the interface. That's how the normal emulsion is formed. But what sonication can do is they can cross-link these proteins to form a thin shell. So what it means is the thin shell completely protects the nutrients. And when you put them into a food matrix, they are isolated from the environment. So that they are prone to oxidation, heat, or UV light. What it means is until you eat these microspheres, the nutritional compounds are protected. So again, we are showing that sonication does not affect the nutritional value of the compound because we are only sonicating for a few seconds to form that emulsion. But once you encapsulate, and if you look into the liquid or if you recollect the liquid by breaking this shell, if you analyze, you don't form any new compounds. What it means is the nutritional value of the original compound is preserved. Again, I'm skipping the some few things. So what are the applications for this? In this particular case, we did a project for Cadbury chocolates or Mondelez, where we can use this technology to encapsulate flavors. But not only that we can incorporate these flavors, you can also incorporate vitamin and other things and then put them into any confectionery product, including chocolates. And then basically when you eat that chocolate or any other confectionery product, then it has nutritional value. But the Cadbury people, initially they were interested more into encapsulating some flavors like strawberry flavor or mint flavor, which we could do using this technology. And the advantage, as I said before, is conventionally, when you try to incorporate some flavors, they are prepared through spray drying process. Heat-treated flavors lose their, the taste and value. Whereas if you use our core shell formation process or microsphere formation process, then you have better value for that product. 99.9% of pure flavor, not heat treated, can be incorporated in a stable, with a high stability into any confectionery product. We took that concept and did a project for Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, where they were asking us to use this technology to encapsulate some nutrients like vitamins, etc. And then we can distribute that or incorporate that into, for example, biscuit. During this kind of biscuit baking or making bread, during all those processes, the nutrient is protected. The advantage here is that if you put these nutrients into biscuits, then you don't need to worry about storage or instability. You can store them for a year or two until someone eats the biscuit or bread. The nutritional value of those compounds are protected by this kind of thin shell that we form by the sonoprocessing methodology. The last example that I would like to quickly mention is formation of emulsion gels. Again, emulsion gels are used in various applications, by medical applications, but also in the food area. For example, cheese and other things are emulsion gels. If you want to make an emulsion gel conventionally, you take a particular oil or a fat, and then you use some large amount of chemicals like emulsifier, starches, thickeners, etc., to form that network of the proteins or biopolymers where the emulsions get stabilized. Okay, but when you do this kind of chemical process, the emulsion gel that you make are not good for your health because they may be converted into some poisonous compounds. So what we have developed using the ultrasonic processing is that you simply make an emulsion like I showed you before. For example, here we are adding a small amount of oil into skim milk. So we'll form an oil in water emulsion by this process. Then if you put that emulsion into a high pressure processing unit, you get the emulsion gel very quickly. Okay? So in this process, we are not adding any external chemical, simply oil with some milk, and you can form an emulsion gel through the ultrasonic processing. The final one is, again, in the food area, quite often we extract nutritional material from plant. In this case, we are trying to extract some materials from algae. And normally when you extract, you get a stable emulsion that looks like this, like a paste. And if you want to remove, for example, if you have a nutritional compound that is oily in nature or hydrophobic in nature, you have to add a chemical solvent to take that oil out. But in this case, again, we can simply use the sono processing. A 3-second sonication, then the oil gets separated from the biomass. Again, no chemicals added, a simple process. Okay. So what I have shown in this 30 minutes very quickly, without going through the details of mechanism, I have shown that ultrasonics and sonochemistry is a green processing technology that can be used in various food applications. And the photograph that you see is Dr. Nikan when she came to my lab several years ago to spend a few months to do some work in preparation of starch nanoparticles. This was a photo that was taken with my students at that point. Again, I'd like to thank Nikan, but also the conference organizers for this kind invitation. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you.
I think there's one question in the chat function for Aziz.
Okay, so I think it is addressed to me, right? So it is correlated with the questions. Yeah, the questions is correlated with okay, biomass to hydrogens for tropical and also subtropical regions. So what is the big difference between them, right? So okay, thank you very much. Here's the Pak Agus, I think, right? Pak Agus Purwawa. Okay, I think when we are talking about there are many potential biomasses. So when we include especially like waste also as the potential biomass of there, I think the characteristics will be really quite different. So when we are talking about the waste, especially waste biomass in tropical areas, we need also to consider the moisture content, and the moisture content is usually very huge, very high. But when we are comparing with any kind of biomasses in subtropical areas, because I'm living now in Japan, so it means that the characteristics is really quite different with the Indonesian case. So the conversion technologies, I think, should be quite also a little different in this case. So for the biomass in tropical area, because the moisture content is quite high, I think several technologies are quite available over there. Maybe we can have any kind of thermochemicals and also some biological conversions. I think it should be quite promising. But for the subtropical area, because the moisture content usually is quite lower compared to the tropical areas, so I think thermochemical will be much more preferred in this case. Yeah, but again, I just want to underline that it's really depend case by case actually. So what kind of biomasses available over there, like woody biomasses or maybe agricultural waste biomasses or etc. So the case by case are quite really different in this case. But I think in general, we need to consider that because the characteristics of the biomass are quite really different. Thank you very much for your questions.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Aziz. I think it's deliver or address the question from the Mr. Agus, right? Okay. On the floor, any one of you who wants to ask any question to Prof. Ashok or even to Dr. Ernie? Is there anyone? Okay. Yes. Please mention your name, your institution, and deliver your question clearly and concisely.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ferry Setiawan. I'm lecturer in Magister Agribusiness. Thank you for all the speakers to the event today. I'm sorry before if my speak English is not perfect. For the first, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving me a little time to deliver my asking here to the speaker. The question to the Mr. Muhammad Aziz in Tokyo. Good morning, sir. My question, what do you need to do prepare in the especially agriculture sector to support development of biomass energy? For the first. And the second question, how to develop biomass energy almost a limited natural resource? The question for the Muhammad Aziz. The next founder speaker from India, Mr. Muthupandian. The question, the number one, what are the challenges in the implementing under ultrasound technology for environmentally friendly food? Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The questioners asked 2 questions to Dr. Aziz and 1 question for Prof. Ashok. Am I right? Okay. Dr. Aziz, can you understand?
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay,
so I just would like to summarize together 2 questions, because when we are talking about the biomass to energy or maybe biomass to hydrogen also, so means that what we really need for here is that the sustainability and also the circularity. When we are talking about the biomass, the first problem is correlated with the cost of the biomass is sometimes much higher compared to other renewable energy. Although we have really abundant biomass resources, but unfortunately the cost for the energy production from biomass itself is sometimes higher compared to others. So the big things over here is that we are facing with several I mean, it's like activities, including the pre-treatment conversions and then also the transportations of the biomass, which is widely and also thinly distributed. So how far actually we can tackle down this kind of problem? So as I mentioned previously, that when we take a look at the success of Brazil to develop the bioethanol for their countries, I think finally we need any kind of I don't know, like massive adoptions. So the critical mass of area is very important. So we cannot expect that we can have any kind of a good economic performance for biomass-based energy systems in case that it is only very limited. So we need to have any kind of starting from the policy and also the technology and also the systems to be really massively adopted in this case. And the second one is correlated with the biomass, especially it is strongly correlated with your question is that for the agricultural discipline is that how far we can have any kind of like some kind of technology and also policies to maintain the sustainability of the biomass, especially for the cultivation of the biomass itself, because biomass means that to cultivate biomass we need some time, right, and some period for that. Like so the main problems over here is that how far we can have any kind of good circulations and also sustainability of the biomass over years. And we expect that biomass is also really potential for the carbon circulation, for CO2 captures, and finally also we can produce the energy from the biomass. So we can create any kind of carbon neutrality by that, because the carbon is captured and then is released and captured again. So it means that we can have any kind of carbon circulations in our systems. But the problem is that how we can provide any kind of good cultivations of and also the captures of the CO2 from the atmosphere. So I think there are some correlated disciplines or fields which are really important to develop the biomass for our energy systems over years. Okay, thank you very much for your questions.
Yes, and now we can next continue to Prof. Aswa. Time is yours to answer the question.
Thank you. I think the question was, whether the ultrasonic processing is an environmentally friendly processing and whether it can kind of avoid any kind of uses of excess energy. So I think that's what I was demonstrating with some examples. So if you look into, for example, ultrasonic emulsification or the microsphere formation for encapsulating nutrients, and also the emulsion gel formation, in all those cases, the processing time is less than 30 seconds. So when you use certain amount of energy for a very, very short period of time, and the advantage that you get in terms of the product stability and the nutritional value, it is quite high. So that's why I think the heat stability issue, for example, I spoke to you about for dairy industry. Now some dairy companies are using that technology to increase the heat stability. So what you have to compare here is that a unit where you get the aggregation and you have to shut down the whole plant for a day to clean everything up. So you have 1 day production lost versus incorporating the ultrasound unit that consumes certain amount of energy for 15-20 seconds that can avoid that kind of shutdown of the plant. So you can see that there's an advantage there. It is environmentally friendly because it's not creating any chemicals, additional chemicals or anything. You simply use a small amount of electrical energy that saves large amount of production time. Same with the emulsification process. Normally, when you want to make an emulsion, you add an emulsifier. Ultrasound processing, basically, you don't need to add an external emulsifier that you can simply sonicate for 10 or 15 seconds to make a stable emulsion that has various nutritional value. So I have a few examples that I have provided that clearly tells that this technology is an environmentally friendly technology. That's why we call that green processing technology that has potential in applications in food industries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Aswa Kumar. And I think this is the end of the session, the plenary session of this conference, I think the participant here that we are in one room with Dr. Ernie, so the participant not willing to give a formal question because all of us can simply ask and have good discussion directly with Dr. Ernie here. So nobody asks any question in this sessions in the plenary session. But no worry, if anybody, all of the students, especially if you want to learn about a precision fermentation, you can have discussion directly with Dr. Annie here because Dr. Annie come and join with us. I think until tomorrow, Dr. Annie will be here. Okay. Thank you very much as a moderator. I just want to say very, very thank you to the all presenter, the keynote speaker, Dr. Muhammad Aziz, Dr. Ernie Sofia Murtini, and Professor Ashok Kumar. You already share your expertise. And this is very, very interesting and inspiring us to improve and to develop new renewable energy and the new technology to serve our society in terms of food and energy, I mean. And this is the end, and thank you very much for, especially for the presenter and all of the audience for your very active participation in this conference, and I hope you enjoy this program. I do apologize for my mistake during act as a moderator in these sessions, and thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now entering our plenary session, second session by our keynote speakers. The first presentation will be given by Engineer Yudo Kusbandrio from PT Ajinomoto Indonesia. Second by Professor Yao Sengma from University Malaysia Sarawak. Third by Yasuhiro Mori PhD from Rokuno Gakuen University Japan. The plenary session will be moderated by Dr. Siswoyo Soekarno from University of Jember.
Bapak dan Ibu, kita akan segera memasuki plenary session kedua dengan keynote speaker Insinyur Yudo Kusbandrio dari PT Ajinomoto Indonesia. Yang kedua akan disampaikan oleh Profesor Yao Sengma dari University Malaysia Sarawak. Dan yang ketiga, Yasuhiro Mori PhD dari Rokuno Gakuen University Jepang. Sesi ini akan dipandu oleh moderator Dr. Siswoyo Soekarno dari Universitas Jember.
Please welcome to Dr. Siswoyo Soekarno. Let me introduce our moderator,
Event ini disponsori oleh PT Ajinomoto, pemerintah Kabupaten Jember yang meliputi organisasi perangkat daerah Dispendik, Dinas Perhubungan, Diskominfo, Dinas TPHP, BPKA, dan Bupati Jember. Serta disponsori oleh Pusat Penelitian Kopi dan Kakao Indonesia, PT Mitra Tani 27, Senyum Media, Bursa Mahasiswa, Primadona, dan Maena.
Let me introduce our second moderator, Dr. Engineering Siswoyo Soekarno, affiliation Associate Professor at Agricultural Engineering Study Program, University of Jember, Education, Bachelor in Agricultural Technology, University of Jember, Master in Agricultural Machinery and Management, AIT, Thailand, Doctor in Agricultural Engineering, ASEAN Institute of Technology, Thailand, research interest, agricultural power, farm, harvest and post-harvest machinery engineer, design and evaluation of agriculture equipment, engineering, economic, and land preparation. To Dr. Siswoyo Soekarno, time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for the master ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the plenary session in the session 2 in this morning. So I would like to invite all the keynote speakers this morning to come to the forward from Ajinomoto, Bapak Yudokus Bandrio, then the second one from Gakuin University, Hokkaido, Japan, Professor Yasuhiro Mori. And would you please, Profesor Insinyur Dr. Yu Seng Mah, okay? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are very proud now in this second session. We will have 3 keynote speakers that will share their experience regarding their specialization. Okay, I would like to introduce first for the first presenter for the first speakers. It will be Bapak Insinyur Yudo Kusbandrio. His affiliation is from Factory Director of PT Ajinomoto Indonesia, Chemical Engineer with a lot of experience in manufacturing and practical lecturer. His education, he got the Bachelor of Chemical Engineer from Institute Technology of 10 November, ITS, then Management of Technology, non-degree in Japan, SQA, Management Course, SQA School in Bangkok, then Gemba Kaisen PPM Jakarta, Ajinomoto Global Leader Seminar, Takanawa Train Center, Tokyo, Japan. His working experience in process engineer of PT Ajinek International Mojokerto from 1989 until 1991. Production manager of PT Ajinomoto Indonesia Mojokerto from 1991 until 2015. Then production director of PT Ajinomoto Indonesia Mojokerto, then factory director of PT Ajinomoto Indonesia. I think now is time I will give to Pak Yudo. Okay, please Pak Yudo, you can present your speech.
To share here our experiences in the title of the role and the contribution of Ajinomoto Indonesia to public health and to the eco-friendly. So please, I think, sorry, please. Okay, do you know Ajinomoto, everybody here? Is there any else do not know the Ajinomoto? So I think all housewives, women, and even the gentlemen know well the Ajinomoto. So we are one of the food product manufacturing in Indonesia. And of course, we are the member of the Ajinomoto Corporate Global to produce some products in Indonesia. Today, I am very glad and proud to share with you the topics for the role and contribution of my group company to the public health and to the eco-friendly. So this is the topics with its trending in this era. I would like to share briefly the short profile of the Ajinomoto Indonesia. So our group sales more than 7,300 billion IDR, and our employee, full-time employee, more than 3,500 people in Indonesia. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. This is the location of our company in Indonesia. There are several places. The first, of course, the headquarters in Jakarta head office. And the second establishment of the factory in Mojokerto. This is the first factory in Indonesia, constructed on 1970, so around 54 years ago. And the second factory also established at Mojokerto area for this product, especially for export, for monosodium glutamate. And the third factory is established at Karawang, West Java, Indonesia, Karawang factory. And there are 4 brand office to distribute and sales our product at the big city of Indonesia, such as Jakarta, Surabaya, Makassar, and Medan. Next slide, please. This is our product and the growth of the Ajinomoto in Indonesia. The upper side is the retail product. There are some brands, Ajinomoto for monosodium glutamate. You call it micin or fitsin. And then Masako, this is the bird seasoning. We have the chicken and also beef. And Sajiku, flour seasoning and also ready-to-use product. And Saori is oriental sauce. And the mayumi mayonnaise. And beside the retail product, we also have the Horeca. Horeca is abbreviation from the hotel, restaurant, and catering. So there are some products we supply to them and support their business. And also in industrial, we also support the industrial for this product. For example, for for crackers, for snack and bread, something like that. So we have some product to support them. Next, please. So now I will start to share our management experiences on the 2 categories, that is the public health and the second, the environmental. So I will show you the source of our initiative is come from the SDG, as you know. So there are 17 goals in SDG, and we pick up several criteria, and we discuss internally, and further, we have 3 aspects in the top layer. This is for health for human, and another 3 target at the bottom. This is for the environment, the eco-friendly. There are so two categories of the activity I will share here today. Next slide, please. This is our global Ajinomoto vision toward 2030. We already decided to focus on 2 aspects as one of our vision. That is the reduce our environmental impact by 50%. And the second is extend healthy life expectancy of the 1 billion people in the world. So this is our global Ajinomoto vision toward 2030. And the main scope regarding with the environmental and health is connecting and also priority. So right now, every affiliate in the world of Ajinomoto try to realize this vision. Next. That is for Ajinomoto Indonesia. We have the activity, we call it by Ajinomoto Indonesia Health Provider. There are double action to do that. The first is health provider for human. This is according to the health and well-being. And the others is health provider for the earth. This is according to the food resources and sustainability. So later on I will explain our example experience from these 2 subjects. And I will inform here, in doing that objective, we use the concept of management we call Ajinomoto share value. Maybe this is Ajinomoto created share value. We abbreviate with ESV. The concept of Ajinomoto share value is doing business as daily operation shall produce positively on impact of social and economical impact. So this business activity should share for social and economical impact positively, and then cycle to our business. So the growing of the company will have fruit to the surrounding by social impacts and economical impact. This is the concept of Ajinomoto created shared value, and we will implement for health provider on human and the earth. Next slide, please. The first about health provider for human through our products and menu. So we are now doing the campaign for Bijakaram. Maybe the title in the word is Smart Salt, Bijakaram. This is, we are producing for helping the hypertension, diet for hypertension. As you know, the blood, sodium in the blood may become source of the hypertension, high blood pressure, because of sodium. In that sense, so Ajinomoto can reduce the sodium by our concept Bijakaran. So for example, if you use salt in your meal, in daily meal, for example, 2 spoon soup, 2 teaspoon salt, you can change by once and another half of the MSG. The taste is not compromised. The taste is keeping the high good taste, but the sodium content will reduce 30%. This is the kind of the concept to deliver to the all people in Indonesia. So by this, we can reduce sodium in the blood around 30%. Next, please. The second is about launching product that support the health. So now we produce a masako, you know the masako, even chicken or beef. We produce new recipe with less salt. So this is probably can support for hypertension diet. And also for sajiku flour seasoning. You know flour seasoning usually absorb the oil when we are frying that. But by this product, we help the user to avoid much oil in their frying of fish, for example, or tempeh, for example, like that. So this product less oil, so can support the healthy menu. Next. And for the literacy and knowledge, all the people in Indonesia, we also establish Dapur Umami. We call it Dapur Umami. Dapur Umami is a platform. Everybody can access to it and get easier, healthy, and delicious recipe, as well as various healthy inspiration. So if you want to go and learn about this, you can go to the link of the website of Dapur Umami. And the second, we also visit to every place in Indonesia through nutrition literacy of Gembira. Gembira means gerakan masak bergizi. Gerakan masak bergizi. The cooking, nutritional cooking, movement. So this is, we are collaboration with every place in Indonesia and conduct it. So this is kind of the education to housewife, for example to PKK, ibu PKK, and educate about the Bala nutrition or Bijakaram and etc. So until today, we can visit 18 cities and more than 3,600 attendants attend to this activity. Next, please. And the second, school lunch program. School lunch program is dedicated to the school. Now we are collaboration with IPB, Bogor, and some pondok pesantren to proceed this school lunch project. School lunch project is targeted to reduce the prevalence of malnutrition and also promote healthy lifestyle habits. So we educate the young people, our children in the pondok pesantren, including the teachers, and we observe together with IPB the result of this activity. And from from several months, we can get that there are decreasing students with anemia status. Anemia means indication of the school and project success indicator. So we can reduce the anemia at the student of Pondok Pesantren. Next, please. And the last of this one is Dari. Dari project is to reduce hypertension or high blood pressure metrics and extend the healthy life expectancy of the elderly. So we collaborate with some elderly association in some city and prepare some menu, diet, and etc. and using our product. And there are indication of sodium decreasing and the indication of the hypertension matrix become good result. Next, please. So now I will share to you about the second health provider, that is health provider for the year. We have 4 projects here. The first is C-50 project. C-50 project is reducing carbon emission by our operation. So our target in 2030 decreasing 50%. So that's why we call C-50. And the second, clean plastic. This is to reduce usage and recyclable of plastic. We are targeted around 30% until 2030, decreasing of plastic in Indonesia. And the second, water conservation. This is actually, we start from long time ago, 2005, and we targeted to reduce around 80% into 2030. And the last, fit to fit up, because this is inspired by the increasing of the food loss. So we want to reuse or recycle or reprocessing of this 100% on 2030. Next, please. So that is, later on I will also share to what is about the green industry and also circular economy in practically. Next slide, please. First, about C-50 project. Next slide, please. So this is the kind of example what we are doing in reducing of the carbon emission. So we start using renewable energy, for example, solar panel, and also start using renewable energy, solar tube lighting, and also using the higher efficiency of machine, and biomass boiler to produce the steam and later energy electricity. And also we conduct the management audit for energy audit and to conduct the process diagnosis. So that's activity we want to reduce C emission around 50% 2020-30. Next, please. This is our biomass. Now, previously we used coal for the steam production, boilers, and gas for steam production and electricity. We operate co-generator, and right now we already start biomass. It has been CO2 emission will reduce according to using of the biomass boiler. And next, on maybe around 2028, we will start to use the co-generator by biomass fuel also. So right now, the co-generator boiler use gas. This is the, image of our plant at Mojokerto factory. Next, please. This is pictures of some biomass fuel we are using in Mojokerto factory. Wood pellet, rye-husk pellet, kaju wood pellet. Kaju pellet is daun minyak kayu putih. Eucalyptus, daun minyak kayu putih. So near our factory in Mojokerto, there is a factory of minyak kayu putih. So we will use residual of this become pellets. That is our image of the warehouse and full feeding system. Next. Then I will share also clean plastic target, 30% reducing on the 2030. Next. This is our current activity. So first, we minimize using plastic in our secondary packaging for Masako or first packaging for Masako, and reduce the thickness and reduce the size. And also we can reduce as economic value. For example, reduce 220 million Japanese yen per year, and plastic reduction is enough big, 745 ton per year. Next. This one is our new packaging product of Ajinomoto, 100 gram. We already combine plastic and degradable material, that is paper packaging. Around 30% we can reduce the plastic using it here. So that's from Muri, Indonesia Book Record, give the award because this is the first packaging product IMSG produced by the paper. 30% plastic will reduce by this. Next, please. And another way, we also promote this is the management improvement by education to all people surrounding the waste station. So we collaborate with the environmental startup ecosystem to prepare waste station, and everybody, every housewife can go to this waste station and deliver the plastic, carton, paper separately, and from this platform, housewife will get the points and rewards of money, GoPay, something like that. So this is not for money, the target. The target is to shift up the habits, to start from home, to separate the waste and try to utilization. This is the concept of the innovation recycle program for the plastic waste. Next, please. So then I will share also water conservation. The target is 80%. How we do it? So please next. Some activity already implementation. First, of course, we rearrangement the management of the wastewater management, and try to recover much more about steam condensates. And also we try to harvest the rain water. So when the rainy season, there are rainwater very much producing, and we will harvesting by collecting and processing at water treatment. This is one of our idea. Next slide, please. The feed to feed up, this is according to the food loss. Next. So now I will share here, Indonesia is the biggest contribution for food losses in Asian countries, around more than 21 million ton every year. So this is big food loss. So we try to contribute by education and find out the method, economical method. So as you know, our product sometimes defect when deliver to the customers, and or sometimes exit of the expired date. So that product become food loss. So we try to reuse that and reprocessing. And at the same time, in the factory we have the canteen. Maybe here also, canteen, more than 2,000 people every day eat meal in canteen. So there are some waste from the canteen. So we try to use that, mix with the this defect product and become animal feed product. So we registered on the ministry, become 3-ton products. That is, we contribute how to reduce food losses in Indonesia. Next slide, please. So that I will continue for green industry and economic circular. So circular economics. So this is our company. The product at above, yeah. And to produce this product, we use some material from farm agriculture area and also animal, such as the beef, chicken, etc. And from that process, we will have produced co-production, because our MSG production, biotechnology fermentation, so there is some co-products which is consists with the higher nitrogen, so we can use for the fertilizer. And this co-product will use for farmer and animal feed. Next, please. Next, please. I will share here one by one our product for agriculture business. The first is liquid fertilizer. We call it amina. There is nutrients, nitrogen, of course, and phosphate and potassium. Usually we sell by bulk, massive, so at the lorry stock, something like that. And application for corn or for rice or for sugarcane. Next, please. Second liquid fertilizer is agifol. If the amina you spread for the soil, for the root, but this is for leaf, for foliar fertilizer. So we produce the agifol, and by that we also adding some nutrient for the plantation, additional nutrient for the plantation. So when we are asking researcher from the Japan to review our agifol after implementation, there are some benefits by Mr. Taito Takeda. That's this agifol also contain with some, like the immune for the plantation. So solved by the color of the mushroom and the strawberry. Next slide, please. And we also try to make a high efficiency using of agifol by drones application. So because this is a concentrated product and dilute by water and spray to the leaf, so we can use the drone. And by this, some benefit also coming, for example, less water, less manpower, and short time. Next, please. Then the other is about soil conditioner. So in our process in MSG, we also have the byproduct gypsum and non-active carbon. So we try to mix it and become the soil conditioner for the soil agriculture area. Next, please. And the next is fermented malt liquor. This is used for, material for animal feeds. Material for animal feeds. So together with other material, mix and give to the live cattle, something like that. So this is also good for animal feed. Next. And the last is tritan, as I said before. This is according to the food losses activity. We produce a tritan from the, product and remain product in the process mixed with the canteen waste. So we can produce tritan as feed ingredient, usually used for the duck, chicken, and etc. Next, please. So finally, this is our economic circular for green industry in Indonesia. we are in the midstream, Ajinomoto, produce the Ajinomoto Masako, etc. And besides that, we also have the co-production, such as the Amina, FML, Agifol, that will deliver and used by the agriculture area. And the product of agriculture area, such as cane molasses, tapioca, cassava, will use for our main material for MSG production. This is the circle, economical cycle. And for example, for FML, also be used for material for feed animal, and this beef we use for masako, beef and chicken. So this is also implementation of the economic circular. So that is our situation. Right now we have several points, and the next we will use also, because now biomass boiler start production. So from that boiler we will have the ash. So that also will become the fertilizer also, and etc. This is the figure of the circular economic implemented by Ajinomoto in Mojokerto factory. That is. Okay, that is all. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Pak Yudo. I think it's a very nice presentation. When Pak Yudo asked us in the first, he present his speech, do you know Ajinomoto? Then I remember around 1980s, I think, in the TV, ya, mana suka siaran niaga, ya, there is no private television at that time. So I remember Pak Bagio, one of the comedian of Indonesian, yeah, that advertised about the Ajinomoto. Cup, 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 Ajinomoto. Pak Sunon, okay, that's Ajinomoto. Thank you, Pak Yudo. Okay, for the next presentation, it will be second keynote speaker in this session. He is the Dr. Yu Seng Ma. Is right? I'm sorry if I'm not right in the spell or pronounce the name. Okay, I would like to introduce about Dr. Yu Seng Ma. Yeah. His affiliation is, I can read that, Associate Professor at Faculty of Engineering, University Malaysia, Sarawak. Oh, I think you can speak Malaya. Yeah, okay. So if I can speak in English, we can speak in Indonesia. Head of Innovation and Commercialization Unit. His education is, the last one is Doctor of Philosophy, Water Resources Engineering, University Malaysia, Sarawak from 2009. Then Master of Engineering in Civil Engineering, University Malaysia of Sarawak. Graduate at 2009. Okay. Oh, that one is a graduate for his philosophy of doctor is 2009. Then his Bachelor of Engineering in Civil Engineering, University Malaysia Sarawak. graduated at 2003, and then his diploma is civil engineering, Polytechnic Ungku Omar Perak at 1999. His expertise is civil engineering, water resources management, or integrated water resources management. He has 24 research projects, 78 journals, 4 proceedings, and 3 books. And I think the other you can read by yourself. And now, could you please, Dr. Yushenma, to present your speech? I think please welcome Dr. Yushenma to present his speech. Please give applause for him.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So you can see that my background is civil engineering, so I'm a little bit different from the other speakers. So please bear with me for a while. Okay, so I'm an associate professor. Okay, with Faculty of Engineering, UC Malaysia Sarawak. So sometimes it's called UNIMAS. Okay. So my title today is on the pilot study of floating road in oil palm plantation on peatland. So I'll be doing something on the road. So since road, okay, road is more on the infrastructure side. Okay. Okay, so let's start with this one. Okay, I hope you can see the screen stretch it a bit. Okay, so so let me start with this at the bottom here. Okay, so let's say we have rain. Okay, so all this rain, when it come down and it's reached the earth, okay, and some of the water will be, okay, some of this water will be infiltrate. Okay, so when all this water infiltrate, so you will see that there is only 10% of runoff. Okay, so what we see here is the rainfall to runoff relationships. So this apply to all land drainage applications. Okay. But when it comes to the urban, okay, so when it comes to this urban, where the soil have been blocked, so the water can barely go inside the soil. Okay, so we see that it's only a little bit. So what it happened is the runoff increase. Okay, I hope you can see that the runoff increase from 10% to 55%. Okay, so this is the general data. So with this kind of increment, okay, so the too much water on the surface, on the ground surface, it create problem. Okay, so let's say in this urban environment, one of them is the road. Okay, so these are the conventional road. So conventional road are made to have a layer of tar or the bitumen. So the bitumen itself is water resistant. So it means that they expel the water. Okay, so we don't want, when we build a road, right, so we do not want the water to go into the road. Okay, you can see that under the road is all sorts of aggregates. Okay, so the terms we use is aggregates, but actually there is a rock. So different types of rock, big and small, and at the end will be the layer of soil. Okay, so when the water going in, it will start to scour the road. So in other words, that water go in, it will erode the road, and the road collapse. Okay, so when too much water accumulated on the road, then it will have something like this. So this is a flood problem. Okay, so all the conventional roads are not flood friendly. You can see them from there. So because of that, we come up with different ideas of different types of road. Okay, so you see here, this is a permeable paver or a permeable road. So for this type of road, they create even though it's a road, okay, this is the paver. So we have spaces, okay, spaces to allow the water to go inside, go into the ground. Okay, so this is not a new one. Okay, so since this is available since the 1960s. Okay, so let me go to the next one. Okay, so you can see here, these are the problem in Malaysia. So the Malaysia always say that the longkang, okay, limpahan air longkang, okay, and longkang punca banjir kilat. Okay, so these have been pointed to the drain. Okay, so what we have here, so let me draw the cross sections of the road. So let's say you have a road like this, okay, and at the end there will be the drain. Okay, so usually the water on the road, it will be inclined to flow to the drain beside. Okay, but you can see that the size of this drain compared to the road is always much more. Okay, so because of this much more, so we try to explore on the potential of this under the road instead of relying on the drain itself. Okay, so engineers are trying to find ways to reduce the volume of runoff on the ground surface. So this is one of them I'll show you just now, which are paver. Okay, so paver will look like this. Okay, you have the spaces for water to seep down. Okay, and then the types of the aggregate and the depth of the aggregates, it vary from case to case depending on the project site. And then you will have this one, which is in plastic. So this is high strength plastic. So this plastic created spaces. Okay, so all these spaces is able to store water. Okay, so but because of it, the plastic is usually used in the green area. So we see that it's the green area. Okay, so there was a plan before. Okay, so they use this for durian tree. Okay, so for the durian tree, at their particular growing stage, they need a lot of water. Okay, so usually the planter, they will use a pond. So this type of plastic, it can create a underground pond. Okay, and on top of it, you can still have the topsoil for other cultivation. Okay, but what happened to that project, I do not know. Okay, so you also have something like this. This is a concrete. Okay, of course, concrete is much more stronger compared to the plastic. So if you see in this case, so you see this man there. So this is a Caucasian male. So a Caucasian male can be easily 6 feet. Okay, so the height of this structure, it can be 2 meters and more. Okay, this means that the structure is very, very big, and it will need big machinery, big machinery like this to install this structure. So based on this, we try to come up with a new one. Okay, so we try to have something which is more mobilized, okay, and it still have high strength, okay, and have low risk. Okay, so we come up with a product, so we call it a storm pave. So actually, it's a short form of stormwater pavement. Okay, so it consists of here you have a top cover, bottom cover. So this top and the bottom cover actually the same. Okay, and you also have a cylinder. So the cylinder itself, this one, the cylinder itself is hollow. When it's hollow, the water can be stored inside. Okay, so this one, the top cover, it function as a road, but we also put in the inlet. So the service inlet allowed the water to go in. Okay, and then you also have these spaces in between that water also can be go in. So we also have spaces in between the cylinders. Okay, so all these, it include the concrete technology, it includes stormwater management, and also go for the soil stabilization, which we will show later. Okay, so this product, we have filed it with the Malaysian Intellectual Property Corporations. Okay, so we filed it in 2016. Okay, so here this is 2016. Okay, and we only recently got it granted. So it took about 7 years. Okay, so this is the patent finally granted. Okay, and this is some of the dimensions of it. So you can see that we want to have the structures about 0.45, about 0.5 meter. It's about 1 feet. Okay, and these are the others dimensions. Okay, and on the investigation side for engineering, so we have the computer modeling. So what you have here, so we are using SWM modeling. So I was told that some of the agriculture sites you also using this software. So we have the computer modeling. We also have the physical modeling. Okay, so this physical modeling, we built a rainfall simulator. Okay, this is a rainfall simulator. Okay, so where we have some sprinkler here and there, okay, to sprinkle to simulate rainfall. Okay, so you also see this in some agriculture sciences, but this one we are testing on the pavement. Okay, so this is the prototype. So we come up in 2012. Okay, so this is one of the earliest one. Then later we think that we need to tie it together. We need the kekunci like this. Okay, and these are the molds. Okay, at the beginning, so we need the molds to. These are steel mold, custom made. Okay, and then we start the casting. Okay, so the casting, as we hire certain people to help us. So we can see that this is the concrete. So this is almost the very, very early concrete. So we see that here. So the aggregate or the rock is very big. So later we improve it. Okay, we only use certain smaller aggregate and dust. Okay, the quarry touch more. So you will not see that all the batu there. And then you will see that this is the reinforcement bar. You can see or not? So the reinforcement bar is put on the plate. Okay, this plate. Okay, so because the plate is used to support, later it will use to support. It will use for transportation, right? Okay, so it need to have a certain strength. So at first we put in the reinforcement bar, but later we remove the reinforcement bar and we put in fiber. So these are the improvement on the concrete mixture. Okay, and then we slowly fabricate all these units. So slowly on the cylinder, these are the cylinder, the cover. These are the half cylinder, these are the kekunci, these are the beam. So we move all these to the site for our pilot project. So let's talk about our pilot project. So this is a collaboration with Jabatan Gereja Raya Sarawak. Okay, so in short, it's JKR Sarawak. So JKR is actually the Public Works Department. Okay, the Public Works Department, and they have set up their own research center. Okay, so we are collaborating with them. Okay, so you can see that this is the map of Sarawak. Okay, so you see the green colors are all the peat land. Okay, so other than this, so if you see here, if you're going down there, so somewhere over here, this is Pontianak. Okay, so Pontianak and Sarawak, we have the similar issue on the peat. Okay, so we are collaborating with Kalimantan Barat University. And one of the longest one is Universitas Tanjung Pura, Untan. Okay, so we are collaborating on the peat land or the peat issues. Okay, so we can see that. Okay, so the study area is over here. So I hope you can see that there's a red dot there. Okay, so this here. So we can see that the peat actually cover quite an area. Okay, so I have some picture here that showing that the conditions in the oil palm plantation on peat Okay, so how do you differentiate pit? That you will see that the water, okay, if you see some of the water there, the water is black in color. Okay, so these are me and my student. We were working on some of the area over here. Okay, we are using this. This is what we call the Macintosh prop. Okay, this Macintosh prop is where we see to test the depth of the peatland or the peat soil. And we're actually testing how much the peat settle after many years of plantation activities. Okay, so I hope you can see this one. This is from the local newspaper, Sarawak Tribune. Okay, and then actually it come from okay, so if you see here, it's called the Tropical Peat Research Laboratory. Okay, so TROPI. Okay, Tropical Peat Research Laboratory. So this is a research institute under the Sarawak government. Okay, so the statement from this institute, actually, they are in line with the government. So the Sarawak government, they actually encourage agro activity on the peatland. Okay, so now we come to here. So the study area is only a small stretch of road. Okay, so this road was agreed upon by the JKR Sarawak. Okay, so all the road is under the JKR Sarawak. So we cannot go and simply go and start digging the road. So we have the special permission. So to look at one small stretch of road, okay, and the place nearby is called Kampung Mang. Okay, so what happened in here? Okay, as I showed you just now. So this whole area are pit area. Okay, so look at this road. Okay, so you can see that this road that you have. Okay, so this part actually it go down a bit, okay, and then this part also go down a bit. Okay, it's like following the tire, so it settle according to the shape of the tire. Okay, so this type of pattern we call it the rutting. Okay, it's called the rutting. So if the road have this type of pattern, we consider this road rosak. Okay, it had to be repaired. Okay, so if you don't repair, slowly it will have cracks. Okay, if the cracks continue to increase, it will form potholes. Okay, so you know that potholes is very dangerous. Okay, so now what happened is, okay, so when we utilize the peatland, okay, so peatland originally is under water. They are full of water. Okay, so to use the peatland, we need to drain parts of the water. Okay, so when parts of the water drain out, so the top layer, okay, so those exposed, the peat that is exposed, they are actually the organic matter. So when organic matter meets with the oxygen, it decays. Okay, they are merebut. So when it's decay, and it will be gone. Once it's gone, that is why the ground level, it will settle. So this is what the problem here. Okay, so you can see what I show you here is only a part of this road. Okay, so if you're able to see some of the kampong here, the road is even worse. Okay, you will see the road is up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay. Okay, so now come back to our pilot study. So what we did is, okay, so we have some cross-section here. So this is one of the cross-section level. Okay, you can see that they are about, this is the top level, which is fresh peat, followed by the clay, followed by the decay peat. Okay, so all the peat here is about less than 1 meter deep. Okay, when it's less than 1 meter deep, we consider this is the the word I'm thinking of. So we consider this is the shallow pit area. Okay, so for the shallow pit area, okay, so what we trying here is on the shallow pit. Okay, we never try on the deep pit. So this road is given to us by the JKR Sarawak. Okay, we are given this, so we try to do something on this. Okay, so you can see that we clear the road. So you see that the preparation slide. So we clear the road, okay, and we see some of the sand here. The sand is the remnant from the road that we remove. Okay, so after we put in that, we put in this is the beam at the side to close the road. And number two, okay, we laying the hexagonal plate. So when we lay it out, okay, and we have to close it, okay, so we put the kekunci put in and we seal it with geopolymer. Okay, so the geopolymer is the one that tie all these plates together. Okay, so even though all these are single, then one by one, right? So when it tie it together, it becomes one platform. Okay, so this is what we want to have monolithic functions. Okay, so once we have this one, then the third one we have to lay on the cylinder. So it's a layout. We never seal them. So the cylinder it just rests freely on that. Okay, and it covers with another level of the hexagon plate. So the important here is the bottom. So this bottom plate, it need to be tight properly, okay, so that it forms a monolithic function. Okay, so now this is some of the record that we have. Okay, if you look at this Google map here, okay, so this is Kampung Mang. So this is somewhere. This is my university, Malaysia Sarawak. So it will take about half an hour to travel from my university to this site. Okay, in between I have Paya Palo. Okay, Paya Palo is actually a rainfall recording station. Okay, so we have some record from the Paya Palo. So you see this one during this day. Okay, so we have a record of 130 millimeter. 130 millimeter rainfall for that 1 hour. Within that 1 hour, this is the hourly rainfall. So if you know about rainfall, 130 millimeter is classified as heavy rain. So this is actually the red alert rainfall. So and compared to this one, this is a saturated. So this is compared to the previous day. So somewhere here, all the previous day are all rain. All rain. It means that the soil actually is saturated with water. Okay. So during that day, so you can see that on this time. Okay, on this time to this time, about 1 hour. So within that 1 hour, so the water that go down is about 10 millimeter. Okay, and then we come back from another day, okay, and the water actually all gone. Okay, so it means that the pit soil itself can sponge the water away. Okay, so there will be no problem on the mosquito breeding. Okay, and this is one of the, okay, so we do some settlement monitoring for 170. So it about almost like 6 months at different point, okay, and it actually come up with this line graph. So this line graph show that is quite uniform. So if it settle uniformly because of the monolithic that we have, the baser, which function as a when that one is on the pit, that is where we call it the floating. Okay, so that floating be able to show here, it produce a uniform settlement. Okay, if without that one, okay, so each of the locations, because of pit, it will settle differently. So if it's fluctuate differently, there's something wrong. Okay, so in here, so this condition is what we call favorable. Okay, so this is some of the technical drawing, and this is the actual drawing. Okay, so this is like the artist's impression, and this is what we actually achieve. Okay, so remember that this one is where we make by hand. Okay, we make by hand like making cookies, so it's not perfect. Okay, so here tidak cantik, but this is our first baby. Okay, so we have this one. Okay, so because of it's not uniform. Okay, so the surface is not uniform. So when any car or whatever cross over it, okay, it will have compression crack. Eventually, it's actually crack. Okay, so now what happened to this one is we have to overlay it with another tar. Okay, so this pilot project is still there, but it's underground. It cannot be seen anymore. Okay, so because of that, so we try to have a machine. Okay, so this lady here is Dr. Nodahira. So she is from the mechanical department. So she's helping me to design this machine. Okay, so this machine is designed by two mechanical ladies, okay, from my department. So we have this machine so that we can see that the fabrication is better, is more uniform, more geometrical asymmetry. Okay, so we can see that this is the thing that we have. So this is the second one, but you can see that it's actually not quite yet. Some minor here and there. It's not fully uniform yet. Okay. Okay, and so this product is commercialized. So you can see this is the licensing agreement that was this product is licensed to Wang Hong Plastic Industry, okay, and it actually signed in 2019, October 2019. So this is before the COVID. Okay, so after we signed this, then COVID. Okay, so during the COVID 2 years time, so this licensing is actually 2 years. So we didn't get any project. So so this licensing agreement was discontinued. Okay, so this is the Innovation Expo. So we brought this to Seoul in 2016. So this is more on the concept, okay, the prototype, the concept, the lab work. Okay, so we got some prize, and then we went again this is Malaysia Technology Expo in 2018. So more on the field work. So this is our field test. Okay, so we also get some prize. Okay, and let's look at other applications. So we look at, this is more on the computer simulation already. So what we did here is we study on the commercial area. Okay, so we remove the drain. Okay, so usually this commercial area, we must have some drain here, right? So we remove the drain, we put in the road, so all the water will go under the road. So this is what we call a road that flows stormwater. So it is a road, it stores water, and it also flow water. Okay, compared to the first one is only designed to store water. Okay, so we went to this again. Okay, this is what? 2021. Okay, so it's 2021. So these are the things that we get. Okay, and we also try others. Other than the road, we try this is the road soldier. Okay, so we also try on the housing. This is residential. So it means that we try to have the roof. So the rainwater from the roof is directed to a structure like this. Okay, so this is done by my PhD student. Okay, so this one is not a lab. Okay, he was using his own house. Okay, so I get some fun. So we built this in his house, so we can monitor it 24 hours. Okay, so he actually passed his Viva, so he's just waiting for convocation. Okay, these are some of the technical drawing. Okay, I also try on the if commercial area, we have the kaki lima. So this is the kaki lima. So we may have this type of structure to store water under the commercial area. So we see that we have tried road. Okay, so we also try to put it inside the building. Okay, so we try the commercial area. We try also residential area. Okay. So I would have to give some due respect to my team member. So it covers the concrete, the highway, the geotechnical, and you see that I actually hate the water team. Okay, so that is the end of my presentation. Okay. So actually, after this I have a short video. It's only three minutes only. Okay, so this.
product basically is a precast component. Our common concept in the road construction is made in casting system on the side, but this one is made in the factory and it will be brought outside to make that road. But my system, less material, once the subgrade is ready, the soil is ready, then means that the bottom hexagonal block, this will be interlocked, another precast, then we shall put another circular system, then provide this one concrete product. On the top, I put consider my bituminous layer. We call this road as a stone paved composite pavement. The road is ready.
Of course, it's very applicable to car parks, hard standing, loading areas, also lay-by, and in certain specific case can be used for a subsoil drain.
The ROI will be achieved because we'll be much economical. The partnership with industrial partner, hopefully the return will be there.
Kerjasama saya dengan pihak IMAS, keputusan dan menghasilkan produk secara besar-besaran untuk memberi manfaat kepada orang kampung, Sarawak dan Malaysia.
Kami sokonglah untuk diadakan di Kampung Mang. Memang laluan itu digunakan oleh lori untuk mengangkut kelapa sawit dan tanah itu memang tanah gambut, lembut. Kalau projek ini terus buat di sini memang bersesuaian dan kami pihak PKK Kampung Mang menyokong penuh.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ma. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the third keynote speakers. It will be Dr. Yasuhiro. Maybe first of all I will introduce about his curriculum vitae. Please the operator to okay. Name Yasuhiro Mori, PhD. Affiliation, he is a lecturer at Rakuno Gakuin University, Japan. His education, bachelor degree in economic, Hokusei Gakuin University, Sapporo. Graduated in 2009. Then continue his master degree in biosustainability, Hokkaido University, Sapporo also. Graduated at 2014. Then his doctor degree also in biosustainability, Hokkaido University, Sapporo, graduated in 2018. His recent projects are 10 years of experience in rural research on rice cultivation and irrigation use in Indonesia. He has also his experience in research on agricultural structure using field GIS data in Hokkaido Prefecture, Japan. His research interests in agricultural economics, rural statistics. Hokusei Gakuin University Sapporo from 2014 until 2019, and he is also has experience as a part-time lecturer in economic and statistics at Rakuno Gakuin University, Ebetsu, 2018 and 2019. And now he is a lecturer, right? lecturer at Rakuno Gakon University, Ebitsu, from 2020 until now. His publication is about the assessing the role of the perceived impact of climate change on national adaptation policy, the case of rice farming in Indonesia, absence of legislation, and the quest for an effective mode of government in agriculture water management, an insight from an irrigation district in Central Java, Indonesia. Okay, Dr. Yoshiro would share his experience about the applying regression analysis on a geographic information system data, a case of rice farmer in Japan. Okay, for Dr. Yoshiro, now is your time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for introducing me. Selamat pagi, till pagi. Selamat pagi, everybody. Thank you for introducing me. Actually, my title is Applying Big Data, in this case, GIS data, to predict rice production, a case of rice farmer in Japan. Actually, I do some economic analysis with GIS data. Okay, let's start. Some participant looks sleepy, so okay, please be patient. Okay, before introduction, next slide, please. Yes, this one. Previous one, I think. Yes, this one, thank you. Before introduction, it is better to know about research area, Hokkaido Prefecture. You can see Indonesia and Japan. The Hokkaido is located at northern part of Japan. Yeah, please, next. Hokkaido is Japan's second largest island and comprises the largest and northernmost prefecture. Also, there are Japanese settlers who had ruled the southern tip of island since the 16th century. At that time, Hokkaido was considered foreign territory that was inhabited by indigenous people of this island, because they are Ainu people. And then in 1869, Japanese settlers started to colonize this island. So I said it has not long history, this island. Please, next. Okay. Next is about economy. Also, there is some light industry, like paper industry. Most of the population is employed by the service sector. And agriculture and other primary industry, forestry or fishery, plays a large role in Hokkaido economies. This means at rural areas, agriculture is main sector. Other prefecture, even if rural area, there are some industrial job like factory comparing to Hokkaido. Okay, next please. Yeah, this is the characteristic of Hokkaido agriculture. Characteristic of Hokkaido agriculture is size, its size. But there are several problems. One is climate and two is soil. Hokkaido is characterized by natural conditions suitable for large-scale lowland farming and upland farming and dairy farming, including abundant resource and cool summer season with long days and long hours of sunlight. But this cool summer, sometimes this cool summer damages crops. Look the left table. The average minimum temperature is January is -7 degrees. Half of year, farmer cannot cultivate. So some farmers do other job during the winter. And look the right figure. Soil distributed at Hokkaido are not desirable for agriculture. Clay, peat, or some volcanic soil. Next, please. Yeah, this is just photo. Now winter is coming in this season. Right photo is February, last February. Snow accumulated about 40 centimeters. Right side, yeah. This is my car, actually my car. So I had to plow this snow. It takes 1.5 hours. I just wanted to go to university, but usually 15 minutes by car. And the left photo is, this is the last night. Now, snow accumulated 30 centimeters. So after I go back to Japan, this hard job is waiting for me. Okay, next, thank you. Okay, agriculture in Hokkaido, food production area in Japan, a contribution of Hokkaido in Japan's agriculture output. Remarkable point is wheat or sugar beets, almost about wheat, 72.8% in total Japan production, and about sugar beets, 100%. We make this, we make sugar with this crop. Okay, next, please. Okay, another characteristic of farmer in Hokkaido. The next is characteristic of this farmer, and look this cultivated area, top of this table. This is a cultivated area per household. It is 28.5 hectares per one farmer. And comparing to other prefecture, agriculture is attractive because younger people select agriculture as their job. Okay, next, please. This is a land use map, land use in Hokkaido historical perspective in 1850s. So remember, as I said, Japanese people started to cultivate from 1869. Before it, I mean 1850s, most area, most land covered by forest. Okay, next please. And after 50 years, a dry field developed. You can see the orange area. That is dry field. And you can see the little bit of yellow area. It is rice field. Okay, next please. And then next 50 years, farmer converted from dry field to a paddy field. At the beginning of 20th century, rice was commercial cash crop. So farmer needed paddy field. So they converted their dry field to rice field. Okay, next please. And this is 1985. It is not different with recent condition. You can see rice area, left side of island, and then center of area. This is soybean, wheat, sugar beets, sugar radish, and potato cultivated. And then left area, west area, there are many grassland. So dairy product area. Now in Hokkaido agriculture categorized by like this area. Next please. Okay, next is research background. Geographic information system data, GIS data, you know. Now we can get easily comparing to before. Japanese government facilitated to develop such like GIS data. For example, rural community boundary data by Ministry of Agriculture, and then plot polygon data by agricultural organization, like Japan Agricultural Cooperative, we say JA, or LID. LID is Land Improvement District. They manage the irrigation infrastructure. And then you can see the map of figure of GIS. This is an example of our GIS data. Each plot has like Excel information. Okay, next please. Such like organization that own GIS data, for them, they are difficult to use or analyze such data. And then for us, researcher, we want to use such like data. So my university, Lucknow Gakuen University, and local JA, Shinshinotsu Village, local JA organization at Shinshinotsu Village, we collaborated. And then data accumulated. Now we use such like data applying to automatic fertilization using drone and analysis of how land use affect to agricultural economics. Now we use such data for research and education. So please look at the photos map. That is a research area. My university and research area distance is 20 kilometers. Okay, next please. Oh, this is an autopilot tractor. I took this photo last month. This is one farmer at research area. He graduated my university and he is now farmer. And then uses like this autopilot tractor. Okay, next, please. Okay, now it's time to explain our study. Introduction. I want to talk about land fragmentation. Land fragmentation is a classical problem in Japanese agriculture. That is obstructing farmers' efficient land use. Having a large consolidated farmland is necessary for economies of scale through mechanization. So you can see the map, GIS map. The green area is research area. And then right side, red one is one farmer, example of one farmer, his plot. He is the largest farmer at research area, 63 hectares he cultivated. Like this situation is not rare. Frequently we can observe. And Hokkaido's farmer is averagely large size, so distance between plot to plot is so far. Standard distance of these plots, I will explain later about standard distance, almost 1.2 kilometers. Okay, next. Yeah, why are farmers' plots scattered? This is the logic of land fragmentation in Hokkaido. At first, I explained before, agriculture is the main sector in rural areas. And then, if farmers quit farming, they need to move to urban area to find a job. Because in rural area, Hokkaido, there's no job without agriculture. And then they have to sell their agricultural land. And then the remaining farmer, they buy that land. And then it is not necessary the land adjacent to his land. So land fragmentation occurs. This is one example and the main mechanism of land fragmentation. Okay, next, please. And another topic, multiple cultivation. And now, rice consumption of Japanese people averagely 50 kilograms per year. I think in Indonesian people, more than 100 kilograms per year, so almost half. Actually, before it was high, like Japanese rice consumption, like Indonesia, but it started to decrease from 1960s. So government now provides some subsidy for crops, not rice, planted at rice field. If you're a farmer, you will be given some amount of money if you did not plant rice at rice field. Yeah, 3,500 yen per year per 10 hours. If you plant some soybean or wheat, feed for a crop, you can get some amount of money as subsidy. Part of the, below this website is Ministry of Agriculture. Next, please. Such like subsidy facilitated production diversification, subsidy to non-rice crop, and then other factor of diversification is, for example, labor shortage at rural area. Labor shortage due to aging and population decline is extremely serious problem in Japan, especially rural areas. And then declining rice price due to decreased demand for rice also affect to diversification of production. Because of these factors, the farmer introduced non-rice crop and then labor-saving crop and a more profitable crop. And then production diversification occurred. Next, please. Next, please. This is the purpose of this study. We focused on rice farming because rice is still staple food in Japan. And then we measure the impact of land fragmentation and production diversification on rice farming. This is the image flowchart of this study. Land fragmentation and production diversification affect two rice farming outcomes. In this case, in this study, outcome indicates the quantity, production quantity and quality. For this purpose, GIS plot data is suitable because each plot has information about geographic position and planted crop. Next, please. Thank you. Data and method. The number of plot in research area, 7,500. And then the number of farmer, 192. This is going to be sample size. And then data contents. Each plot has data about area. And then a crop items. This crop planted rice or vegetable or some soybean or something like that. And then we can know the soil type, peat, clay, or volcanic soil. Next, please. Thank you. Okay, next, I would like to explain the variables. This is, at first, objective variables. Rice production quantity, we measure the kilograms at farmer level. And then rice protein contents. This is a measure of quality. In Hokkaido, Hokkaido's JA, rice taste indicates low protein content. You can see this table. This is one variety, Imepiricas, production price at JA. Under the 6.8% of protein contents, rice price is more high. So farmer they care about protein contents. And also JA guide their cultivation. And this variety is very popular in Hokkaido. You can buy anywhere at supermarket. Okay, next, please. And then measuring land fragmentation. We use the standard distance, SD. This is a definition of standard distance. And then we can see this map. This is the standard distance of plots is 1.2 kilometers. You can see that red star, that is center, geographical center of all plots. And then each blue dot point is plot. Standard distance measures the distance from each plot to all plot, center of all plot. And then another one is the number of plots. I mean plot group. The definition is adjacent plots within 10 meters are considered the one plot group. In this case, we can count the plot group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. 9 group. Desirable crop is maybe one. One big plot group is most desirable. Next, please. Okay, next, measuring production diversification. You can see the map. This is I colored by planted crop at research area. Mostly rice is most planted crop at research area. And then next is wheat, 28%. And then soybean, and so on. So now I simply count the crop, the number of crop that farmer plants. This is a measure of production diversification. Okay, next please. Other control variables, we use some variables as control variables. Soil type, peat, clay, or other soil type, and then rice variety, and then agricultural company. This is a dummy variable. Cultivator is whether company or individual farmer. In Hokkaido, large farmer, they established the company to manage their land and worker. And then I constructed a linear regression model to explain the rice production quantity and quality, like this one. Simple linear regression, estimated by OLS. Okay, next please. This is descriptive statistics. You can see the first row, rice production. Average rice production per farmer is 70 tons. And then protein content is 7.8% per one farmer. Okay, next please. This is an estimation result. I calculated with GS data before statistic models. Okay, next I will explain this result. Next, please. Okay, the soil type and the rice varieties characteristic constant. The other factor is constant. The farmer's cultivation area, I mean farm size, correlated to rice production and protein contents. Quantity and quality are in a trade-off relationship. Remember, the protein content is high is not good, low is good. About quantity, this is a natural. Large farm area, large quantity. But quality, farmer cannot, but if farmer's land size is large, the quality is not good. You can see the protein contents estimates plus, coefficient is plus 0.015, and the statistically significant. So the reason of this, I think the farmer cannot pay much attention when their farm size large. But about this one, we need to survey to check this result. This is a incentive problem of farmer. Okay, next please. And then next is about land fragmentation. Index of land fragmentation, no statistical significant relationship to production quantity and quality. The farmer can practice block rotation cultivation in this area. This is a farm management researcher recommended this practice to cope with land fragmentation. However, since there is some distance to move to plot, so the cost may be high. Okay, next, please. This is an example of block cultivation system in research area. Block rotation cultivation is, you can see the right is non-block rotation cultivation. You can see the three group of plots, same size, but planted crop is, this is a farmer categorized one block, each crop, one crop for one block, and other is not. This is a recommended cultivation way to cope with land fragmentation. Okay, next please. And then about production diversification. Production diversification index, a number of the cultivation item, it reduces the production quantity and increases protein contents. This means if farmer cultivate the many kind of crop, rice production decrease and protein contents increase. In this area, high protein content is not good in the meaning of price. So we need to think about why farmers started to multiple cropping. The government subsidy is one of the reasons. The government subsidies encourage the multiple crop cultivation, but this reduces the rice quality and quantity. This is like institutional crowding out at finance market. Many policies have side effects. I think this is one of this subsidy policy. This is one of side effects of this policy. Okay, next please. Okay, summarize. The purpose of this study is the impact of land fragmentation and the production diversification on rice farming. We saw about land fragmentation. There's no significant relationship between production, quantity, and quality to land fragmentation. Because the reason of this one is farmers' cultivation systems. And then production diversification. This has a statistical significant relationship about quantity decrease and the quality also decrease. Okay, next please. Okay, this is the final topics. This research relied on the information that obtained from only GIS data. Actually, the farmers' production quantity, quality affected by many factors, their cultivation and the fertilizer or pesticide or something. In this case, we relied on only GIS data. That is one problem of this study. The average and other problem, the average effect of other factors on production quantity and quality is assumed to be zero. This is a statistical problem like this one. This assumption is not satisfied when exponential variables and unobservable variables, such like farmer's skill or their ability, are correlated, estimate would be biased. And then in the future, we will collect the data continuously every year to create panel data set that will allow more robust estimation like fixed effect model, such like that. And then in the future, our university and local agriculture organization, we make more deep relationship and we would like to contribute the development of that research area. Okay, next please. Okay, that is finished. Thank you for listening.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are now coming to the discussion session. So, if you have any question or response, I think now is your time. This discussion session, I will divide to I think depend on the number of questions coming. I think 15 minutes is enough for the presentation. So when you would like to ask the question, please, okay, state your name and your question is directed to whom. Please ask the what. Okay, Bapak want to the round table from here. Yeah. Okay.
So directly to us. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So my name is Wasis Partono from Universitas Jember, and I have some questions. The first one is for Pak Yuda from Ajinomoto. It's nice, Pak Yuda, to see the program of Ajinomoto. But I had two questions actually. Actually, I have a lot of questions, but session is only two. The first one is about the what is the thing about the Chinese restaurant syndrome? This is kind of the use of MSG, so monosodium glutamate is like too high, and probably Ajinomoto has already some program to cope this the problem. This is the first one, and the second one is concerning. We have also active to support the PKK. Obviously, see the movement of family welfare and Yogyakarta. And one issue is the women ask how to use the MSG or Ajinomoto wisely. So I mean the portion. So they said that when it's a lot of Ajinomoto in the soup or in the food, there's probably some headaches or blood pressure rise and something like that. This is my question to Yuda. Once again, thank you very much for the presentation. And the second is concerning to Dr. Mori, I think. Yeah, Dr. Mori, I'm very have interested to the GIS data. So my question is, how do you get the data? How do you get the data? This is directly from the farmer, or the data come from the region or something like that? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I think you can directly respond the answer.
Okay, thank you for the questions, but I will, frankly speaking, I'm not so sure with this question, but I try to answer for the second part of your questions. It is according to the monosodium glutamate.
Right, so monosodium MSG, right. Monosodium glutamate is right, yeah.
What is your question about that matter?
Yeah, this is the, we support also the PKK. So I mean, so the PKK for the housewife, for the housewife association. And they ask about the portion of MSG. So for example, for the Ajinomoto, is there any limit? So maximum required limit for the for every kilogram body weight or something like that to maintain their health. So I mean the health of the family. So they said that a lot of monosodium glutamate in the food will be caused by the like blood pressure and also headache or something like that. Thank you, Pak.
Okay, thank you, Pak. So exactly, this monosodium glutamate is easily soluble in the water to become part of the glutamate and sodium. So according to that, in the research and the permission of the agency, it is no limitation actually. But depending on the cooking way and also depending on the preference of the meals, so it is rather individual person to take limit of this using of the MSG in the meal. So exactly, there are no specific, but this is depending on the cooking way and the preference of the individual taste. It is answer your question, sir?
Yes, for the second, yeah. For the first is concerning the Chinese restaurant syndrome.
Yeah.
This is probably it's a long time ago, but is there
Yeah.
any action from Ajinomoto about that? Thank you.
Yeah, so it is, maybe this is the first coming of that information become spreading out, but it is not scientifically investigated well at that time. This just come from rumors, I think. And then there's some scientists, researchers try to deeply investigation about that matter. And there is no correlation with MSG about that Chinese restaurant syndrome. Exactly, no correlation. So that's so the how to say, the agency like the WHO in the world and also the American FDA and also Indonesia BPOM states that MSG is safe for the consume. That's why, Pak, I think this is just rumor. Thank you.
Is it enough, Bapak? Okay, thank you. And then, any more questions? Okay. Okay, directly the mic is there.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much for the time. My name is Muhammad Prasya Kurniawan. I'm from Universitas Jember. Actually, I have more questions, but for this session, I want to ask to Professor Mahyao Seng. Thank you so much for your presentation. Very nice and inspire us for collaborating in the future for research, especially in palm oil. My question is, how high the achievement of storm path to mitigate the water usage, water footprint, or also natural water resources, palm oil plantations? Because now is the big issue.
Excuse me, Bapak.
Yes.
Could you please to little bit loud?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. The sound is, what do we call
Okay,
it?
I will repeat
Menggema.
my question. Thank you. My name is Muhammad Prasya Kurniawan. I'm from Universitas Jember. I have questions to Professor Mahyao Seng. My question is, how high the achievement of storm path to mitigate the water usage, water footprint, or natural resources, especially for water in palm oil plantations? Because now it's the big issue, especially in Indonesia and also maybe in Malaysia. And the second one, most of palm oil areas have unstable soil structures and also the contours. And sometimes it passed by truck with large tonnage. So what's the best way, what's the best strategy to prevent them from the collapsing with low investment and also adaptable technology? Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, actually, I can't hear you.
Yeah, my question about how high the palm oil for me, water and also water the palm oil.
Okay, for the footprint.
Yes. And the second one, because of the contour and structure in the area of plantation, sometimes it's stable. When the heavy truck cross roads, that's how to avoid it or the land.
Okay, so the first question was about the water footprint. Okay, so that one I cannot answer because I don't know. Okay, so I'm more on the flood management, so I don't really know the compare my structure with the water footprint from the oil palm products. That I don't know, I cannot answer. Okay, and the second question is, okay, so in the oil palm plantation with different elevation, so you have high ground and low ground. Okay, so how is that? How is my product is able to put on the oil palm plantation with different elevation? Okay, so far we have not tried. Okay, but okay, what I can show you is that okay, because the structure itself is interlocking. Okay, so it's like a Lego, so you can just plug and play. Okay, so I don't see any problem with all these high and low. So it's just that we plug, okay, but the problem is on the connection, right? So when we interlock it, and we need to lock it properly. Okay, so when it's locked properly, so that okay, so we need to, like I mentioned just now, we need to create the monolithic. Okay, so when you have the monolithic condition, okay, everything I think it should be okay. So far, I actually, I showed you just now, we try it on one time on the oil palm plantation. That is not our choice. Okay, so it's given to us, so we try. Okay, but we do not have the second chance to go back again. So far, we didn't have that chance. Okay, so I don't think so far, because of its plug and play, it should be able to cater high and low ground. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ma. Bapak,
Sorry.
is there any response? Enough? Okay.
Oh, sorry. Dr. Siswaya Soekarno?
Yes?
Sorry, maybe for one person before, one question is not yet answered by Dr. Mori. So maybe Dr. Mori can answer the first one question. It is about how to get the data, the source data of this for Dr. Mori.
Oh, Dr. Mori, okay. Yeah. The next question, right? Yeah. Okay, please come the next question. But
Sorry. So from the first questions is not yet answered by Dr. Mori.
Oh, Dr. Naru
Yes.
also. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Could you get the clue of his question?
Yes, maybe he
Okay.
asked me the data was come from farmer or not. Yeah, the data was it's created by JA, Japan Agricultural Organization staff as their job. So it's not from farmer. And then the staff is professional of GIS software trained by my university. So he did to make such like data. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Already answered? Okay. Okay, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, is there any more questions? One more? Or enough? Okay. If enough, so I have to close this session. Okay, please give applause for the all three keynote speakers this sessions, and also one more applause for all of us. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention, for your patience, attention in this already afternoon. So now we will have a coffee break session. Thank you very much for the all keynote speakers. If any mistake, maybe any unsatisfying when I was the moderator, I would like to have your forgiveness. And okay, then I close this session. I'll give back to the MC. Thank you very much. Billahi taufik wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Before we close plenary session, let's see the video company profile from PT Ajinomoto Indonesia. The next agenda is photo session. We invite all keynote speaker, moderator, President FANRes, Head Committee FANRes and IC-SIA, Dean of Agriculture Technology.
Bapak dan Ibu, kita akan memasuki sesi foto bersama. Diharapkan kepada Presiden FANRes, Dekan Fakultas Teknologi Pertanian, seluruh keynote speakers, dan moderator untuk mengambil tempat. Pak Nafi, dipersilahkan.
To Professor Shinjiro Ogita, please welcome.
Ibu Erni, dipersilahkan.
Please be seated. Thank you.
Health provider. Banyak anak kekurangan gizi dan anemia. Ajinomoto School Lunch Program memberikan makanan lezat dan bergizi seimbang.
Untuk membentuk generasi muda yang tangguh, kita harus menjaga kesehatan anak-anak dengan makanan bergizi seimbang. Sesuai kaidah tumpeng gizi seimbang yang terdiri dari makanan pokok, lauk pauk, sayuran, dan buah-buahan dengan porsi yang sesuai dan bervariasi.
Mari kurangi konsumsi minyak, gula, dan garam. Yuk ikuti konsep bijak garam Ajinomoto. Sejak 2018, Ajinomoto telah membantu meningkatkan status gizi dan mengurangi 20% kasus anemia anak Indonesia. Bekerja sama dengan perguruan tinggi, Ajinomoto menyediakan panduan edukasi gizi untuk dilanjutkan secara mandiri oleh sekolah demi masa depan anak Indonesia yang sehat. Kami health provider, kami peduli.
Ajinomoto.
Health provider.
Mas, Ajinomoto sekarang ada yang kemasan kertas ya?
Benar, Bu. Untuk menyelamatkan lingkungan, Ibu juga bisa berkontribusi dengan mengumpulkan sampah plastik di ekosistem. Selain itu, kami juga mengurangi kemasan plastik pada Masako untuk laut yang lebih bersih.
Health provider.
Pagi, Bu. Apa kabar?
Lagi pusing nih, darah tinggi.
Coba deh bijak garam. Bisa dicek di dapur Umami.
Ada banyak resep-resep rendah garam dengan rasa yang lezat. Mari kita kurangi risiko penyakit darah tinggi bersama produk-produk Ajinomoto.
Baru, saori saus bulgogi. Serasa beneran makan di restoran khas Korea.
Baru Masako 40 gram. Lebih hemat, mudah ditakar, setara dengan 4,5 sendok makan. Jadi bisa masak lebih banyak. Masako baru 40 gram.
Kenikmatan hakiki dari Masako dengan daging pilihan.
Ajinomoto.